They thought they had banished us forever. But now, finally, we have returned.
Hello and welcome to our first response stream in a very, very long time. Admittedly, this has been done on EFAP before. However, we need some context for his other video, which I don't think anybody has covered. So I am very excited to cover this one because it is very, very interesting, and I don't think anybody else has seen it. So, without further ado, let's bring on my guests.
Good afternoon, everyone. You'll probably be hearing mild echoes from probably everywhere. No worries. That's just me having technical difficulties.
Yep. The Nephical difficulties must flow. It's like ice.
Goddamn headset.
Yeah. Yeah, technical difficulties 9 times out of 10. And it happens.
And the thing that is really weirding me out is that I only disconnected the cable and put them back in. It didn't do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Nephical difficulties for the win. Yes, Becca.
Yep. And we have a third one. Hopefully we'll have a fourth, but it depends on when our good friend Valerian comes in. But until then, please welcome the White Dragon.
I can't believe you conned me into 2 remarkable Republican videos in the span of the day.
You popped in without asking what we were covering.
I know what we're covering.
Yeah. So I know he's a troll. I know that this is completely fake, but it's still immensely entertaining.
I personally don't find trolls very entertaining.
Well,
I find it
gamers
hard to tell when people are being trolls. That's one of the reasons why I don't do it.
Yeah. Well, it's just that this is clearly like so factually inaccurate and just rambly that it has to be it has to be fake, but also like it's been proven that like this guy who's also Thuristes the historian like is fake, and that most of what he says is BS, even though like he was totally making the debate on EFAP like about that the Long Night Battle made sense, was totally in line with historical realism against Shad, and Shad destroyed him.
Yeah, when you're going up against someone like that, don't. That's the only advice I have. Don't.
Yeah. So apparently the original trilogy sucks and the prequels are better. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's see let's get started, shall we?
Greetings, YouTube. Remarkable Republican here to bring you the truth with truth-flavored bias. And despite the long-standing fanfare of fans across the world, the fact remains that the Star Wars original trilogy sucks and is in fact inferior to the prequels. During this presentation, I will give you 10 general reasons why the Star Wars original trilogy sucks, and by extension why Episode 7, which is the true heir of the original trilogy, will also most likely suck ass. There are among us movie fans people who actually like plots that make sense and carry over from movie to movie if they're part of a trilogy. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings does just that. Things that happen in one movie continue into the other. The Star Wars original trilogy has nothing of that sort. Basically, there are some...
Okay, so first point. There's no plot continuity.
Damn, you're super right. I mean, we can't compete with this.
Oh man, that's funny.
Conflictions between the different movies. One is Darth Vader's rank and status. We'll talk about that more when we get to Vader, but basically the deal is he goes from being some sort of mechanical robot enforcer to being some sort of Sith Lord to being Luke's pussy ass emotional dad.
Oh, it's the hot, it's the loud soup. Look.
I do not know how you can find this funny. Because I don't. I know it's meant to be funny because he's trying to troll people, but I do not find this funny.
Yeah. Well, it's just what he is saying is so dumb and wrong. I just have to laugh.
That doesn't change the fact that instead of laughing, I'm pinching the bridge of my nose going, oh my God, how did you talk me into this?
At least it's not Maggie.
Neph is probably gonna murder Dunn, but it's at the end of this stream.
Where did I put that spray bottle?
Wait, was the Neph for Wolf?
Happy birthday.
Wolf has a girlfriend. I gave her the spray bottle that was for Wolf. This one's specifically for Dunn.
The anti-vampirisms.
Yep. It's got holy water in it or something.
Yeah, it does.
Yep. Yep.
And my salt. And my salt shaker is here somewhere too. I think I'm gonna need that.
Yeah.
He's so full of salt.
Yeah. So, slight problems here. He was always a Sith Lord. He was just on Tarkin's turf, and he was respectful of Tarkin because Tarkin is, like he doesn't want Tarkin just murdering his officers.
And well, Tarkin was trying to be respectful of him too because he didn't want Vader murdering his officers either.
Yeah.
And from the interactions they have on screen, it looks like they are two equals, but in different, not so much different branches, but different stations, but equal.
Yeah, it's kind of different than the Emperor's Wrath in the Old Republic, where the Emperor's Wrath basically has carte blanche to do whatever he wants. Where it seems like in here, it's like he is outside of the chain of command in many respects, but let's
see, Vader, according to the lore, is the Supreme Commander of the Navy. And Tarkin is a Grand Moff, which makes him basically a senator, I think. Or yes, the Moffs are what replaced the senators. So they're both under Palpatine. They're both kind of equal in status, which is why they are tiptoeing. Not so tiptoeing? Yeah, that works. which is why they are kind of, sort of, but not quite tiptoeing around each other.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's only when Vader himself is insulted by one of the Moffs under Tarkin that he retaliates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep. We've covered this. Let's keep going, shall we?
Sith Lord to being Luke's pussy ass emotional dad. And there's not really a lot of continuity in his character. Also, we know
Not really any continuity. Okay.
There's
Vader,
plot progression.
Vader
is throwing Luke some loud soup.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Vader's characterization. First film. The only thing Vader does is nearly strangle someone using the Force because that person didn't believe the Force was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So all he was doing was proving a point. He probably would not have killed that person even if Tarkin hadn't spoken up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since all he really needed to do was just like, I can feasibly just kill you without going near you.
Yeah, I can do it without even touching my lightsaber. And you know what a lightsaber is. So
Yeah.
Second movie,
he's been unleashed to do
yeah,
whatever he wants.
Second movie, he's been unleashed because he's not on someone else's turf. He's on his own turf, so we get to see him be the commander instead of the guest. And he strangles 2 people.
Because they screwed up royally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's specifically shown that they were really, really bad at their jobs.
Yeah. Oswald. Upset about Oswald. Nita, though. Nita, I feel bad for because he proved himself to be the person that you'd want to have in charge of something like that.
Yeah. What's up, Tyler Preston? Good to see you.
Hello.
Do that.
Yep. Let's keep going, shall we?
Death Star
No.
was designed back during the Old Republic, but for whatever reason, it took 20 years to half build it. That's not very impressive, and given the resources of the Empire and technology, it doesn't seem like it should take that long.
Wait, what?
Also, the resources of the reason it took 20 years. The Death Star was designed. There's not really a lot of continuity in his character. Also, we know that the Death Star was designed back during the Old Republic, but for whatever reason, it took 20 years to half build it. That's not very impressive, and given the resources of the Empire and technology, it doesn't seem like it
Okay, stop it. Stop it. Okay. Took 20 years to half build it? I'm sorry. No.
It was completely built by...
The one was completely built. And then the second one was, I believe it was perhaps 65% built.
Yeah, about.
Yeah. So, and that was what? Yeah, 3, 4. Yeah, that was 4 years. So, supposing that Palpatine, sorry, almost mispronounced the name.
It
Supposing
doesn't matter.
Supposing that the Emperor started construction on the second bigger Death Star. The moment, okay, let's say within the week of the first one getting destroyed. The Death Star, the first one, which was smaller, had probably been completed for a long time before they finally decided to test the laser. Because, Palpatine is the kind of guy that would want to keep something like that a secret for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Senate even knew what it was or had even heard its name, and they just got lucky hearing about it.
Yeah. Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Take that long. Also, the Empire's hierarchy is in constant flux. It's not really clear who's in charge of what. See again, Darth Vader. And then Luke and Leia, of course, made out in the first movie, but later we learned that they're supposed to be brother and sister.
No.
Great
No.
planning here, guys.
No. They didn't make out at all.
And they also didn't make out in the first movie. She kissed him to screw with Han in the second in Empire.
Yeah, that wasn't a "I'm in love with you" kiss. That was her going, who can I kiss in this room that isn't the one that I'm angry at? No, I don't want to kiss the walking carpet. Luke's good looking. I think I'll do it with Luke. Smooch.
Yeah. Yep.
That was basically what happened.
And they didn't know they literally didn't know, partially because George Lucas himself didn't know, but yeah. George Lucas a lot of things he kind of just made up and kind of just threw in, but he integrated it well enough that it's just like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it, but the "No, Luke, I am your father" line it wasn't even edited in until like last minute. As in Benioff last minute.
Triggering.
Okay, that's interesting.
What I mean when I say that is that they were already starting production of the movie when he added the line in. I'm not sure when exactly that happened, but I'm pretty sure that happened before they shot any of that scene.
At least it's a line as opposed to a giant subplot.
Yeah.
A line doesn't change anything. A line isn't that big of a change.
Yeah.
Hey, remember at the time they made an entire movie out of like one little line?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. I have not seen that movie, and I have no plans to. But, with the line, it's easy to just go back and redub it.
Yeah, as far as so from what I understood, that it was kind of that the only people that knew about it were Mark Hamill, James Earl Jones, and George Lucas.
Mark Hamill did not know about it at all. No.
Really?
His reaction is completely natural. That's not acting. Well, yes, it is. But it's not the, "Oh, God, no, you have to be lying." No. It's not the, "Oh, God, no, I knew this was coming" kind of scream. It's the, no, you have to be lying. You have to be. There's no way that could possibly be true kind of scream.
So
only people who knew were George Lucas and James Jones.
So that's actually not correct. According to Mark Hamill, the cast and crew first learned of it when they shot the finished film, when they were shooting it. Vader's line was, "You don't know the truth. Obi-Wan killed your father," and it was David Prowse who was saying it. Only Orvin Kershner, George Lucas, and I knew what would be dubbed in later. Agony keeping that secret for over years. Something that Mark Hamill said in 2020, I believe. So,
well, what I was going off of was from one of Lucas's interviews.
Conflict.
Yeah.
Someone's here.
Yeah, I know.
Let him in.
I know.
So, Blarion, how was your trip to Space Jam?
Oh yeah, it was a riot. It was a riot.
Yeah. Why, Warner Brothers? Why on earth would you put an R-rated TV show reference in a children's and not just one? The Night King and some whites are.
Yogi the Bear is scary though.
I want to get a picnic basket, and I'm going to eat everybody in this park in order to get my picnic basket.
You know, it'd be kind of weird if, like, the Space Jam guy, the basketball player, actually landed in Westeros on accident. Like, well,
Yeah.
this is awkward. This is real dark, real quick.
According to the current law, every single Star Wars movie would be rated R because almost every single movie has someone losing a limb up until the Disney movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Yogi the Bear kind of fits in with the bear and the Maiden Fair song from the Song of Ice and Fire, so.
Yeah.
No.
And Mormont is a bear.
Yeah.
Bear
Mormont. No.
Now maybe the Mormonts were actually, maybe Yogi Bear is actually a Mormont.
That's a possibility. Or there's kind of theories that Mage Mormont and Tormund have been doing the horizontal hokey pokey, and that's where her daughters came from, since Mage Mormont is not married.
Yeah.
And Tormund is supposedly lover of bears, husband of bears, or whatever. So,
yeah, that seems like it. That's not so far out there.
it's a reasonable inference. Yeah. Well, Space Jam has always been bad. Like, and the reason why they're doing a sequel is just, we're just going to cash in, even though the first movie sucks. Like,
I don't understand.
I found the movie entertaining.
Yeah, it's just a Michael Jordan vanity project. That's all it is, with the Looney Tunes showing up. That's all it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Great fucking planning. One
Oh,
of
no.
the most galling problems of the original trilogy is that two of our main characters are Luke and Leia.
Did he just misspell Hamill?
Hamill?
Yeah, he
Guy
did.
Looks like a middle-aged lesbian.
Middle-aged? Did he say middle-aged lesbian?
Yes, he did.
Is that what he just said? I have to keep asking questions like that with this chap. Like, did you really just say that? I think so far this chap is the nuttiest of your people on your hate list that I've seen.
Yeah, he kind of is. You haven't seen Maggie May Fish, though.
No, not yet.
Do you really want to, though?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to watch her. we've already covered her Daddy's Part 2 video, and I don't know about covering her Daddy's Part 1, so I'll have to find something.
No.
You don't have to be there. It could be just me and Valerian and a couple of other people.
Good. Leave me out of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't put her through that torture. That's cat abuse.
Yeah.
He has no charisma. He looks like a middle-aged lesbian. He has
What?
no charisma.
I always got a rainbow. I didn't even notice the rainbow before.
He's what? He's talking about Luke here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
He doesn't actually look like that, though. I don't think.
That was when he was younger.
Yeah. Not athletic. He's pretty athletic in Empire. And
He is actually pretty athletic. You remember the toss in New Hope?
yeah.
He did that in one shot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
he carried Carrie Fisher over that gap with a broken harness.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah, not athletic. My foot.
Damn.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
And he's obsessed with robots, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
What?
And as for Carrie Fisher, she can't really act. She's a raging alcoholic, and she's just not leading actress hot.
Is she really alcoholic, or did you just say that?
Carrie Fisher, not hot. Okay, question. What is Leia in the slave outfit? I call
Ugly.
that hot. I call that hot.
The temperature
Well-
in this room has certainly increased by 20%.
Yeah, she's attractive, certainly.
Yeah. Most boys claim slave Leia as the thing that ushered them into puberty.
Oh, the in Return of the Jedi. Oh yeah. That was interesting, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yep.
made an impact, so to speak.
Yeah, it made multiple impacts on several males and a few girls' genes.
Yes, no comment.
Being Fred from Scooby-Doo, I'm sorry. No, he's a pilot. He's not a mechanic. Though he does have some skills because his father was talented in it. And his uncle would have taught him some so that he would be able to fix and maintain the droids on the farm.
He
But
can
no.
ride the.
His main trick is that he's an excellent pilot.
Yep.
That's what he is.
Yep. Let's keep going. And like raging alcoholic. As far as I know, like yeah, Carrie Fisher had substance abuse problems because she had probably like I believe it was clinical depression. I could be wrong. But she like was struggling with a lot of stuff. And had some substance abuse problems. I think cocaine was. I definitely believe cocaine was one of them, but alcohol doesn't sound like that would be far off the mark.
No, her
Right.
problems were with drugs, not necessarily alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, still a problem, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
like
don't know about Cat Act. I mean, it's hard to say because she's the female characters are generally relatively sketchy. So
Well,
Yeah,
in
they're
the
thinly
first
developed.
movie, she is actually 19, so she's as green as can get, since that's her first big role.
yeah,
I think that might have been her first role, period.
yeah.
yeah, and her acting is fine in that film.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call her A-list, certainly, but she's definitely got some talent. May she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Fare thee well, Carrie Fisher. We will miss you.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny, like with most of Remarkable Republicans videos, it's like notice the bad spelling and syntax scattered throughout. It's kind of hilarious, especially when in his I'm going to defend Game of Thrones season 8 from Mauler and Rags because they're stupid. He claims that he has a master's degree in history. And it's like, okay, you're getting basic things wrong and you have a master's degree? That is not a good look, dude.
He also says that they didn't pay attention in English class.
That too, yeah.
No.
Actually, no. That people who criticize Game of Thrones, I think Evil Danny he was talking about. It was just last night, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Didn't pay attention in English class. I'm like, what are you talking about? Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially since we have a guy who does have a doctorate in. What are your doctorates in?
It's in Romance languages.
Oh, cool. But I imagine you had to take multiple English classes and that you got relatively high marks.
Yeah, I did take English too, of course, and I did decently.
Yeah, that is actually that's actually accurate. Kind of goes.
That's deliberate. That's deliberate.
Deliberate?
That's deliberate. Yes, that's deliberate.
Really?
She had to talk. Yes, they chose to use a British accent for the Empire, and as a diplomat of the Senate, she needed to have one herself.
Well,
It is not her natural way of speaking, but that is the voice she would use for the Senate and all official business. And when she's not on official business, or if she's shocked, it comes off. That's deliberate. According to Lucas, that is deliberate.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'll buy it, I suppose.
It's in one of his interviews.
That seems like that's a lot of. I think that like George Lucas's interviews could be safely entitled "George Lucas covers his butt" over some of his technical mistakes.
No, this is from one of his very early interviews when he's talking about New Hope. Yes. Sorry, Becca. I meant English.
Yeah.
I only said British because Carrie Fisher's actually an American, and English for us is the American accent.
Yeah.
And we've got dialects galore over here.
Yeah. There's kind of like it seems like it's differentiating between New York, Boston, the South, and then the wide range of relatively accentless, like me, you, white, and sort of Valerian.
You're not really accentless. You just have the kind of general American accent, and there are probably various thingies, what you call it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beck.
Variations.
Yep.
Like there's a surfer accent versus, whatever. People from Chicago or Chicago.
Surfing dude, bro.
Yeah. Or Minnesota.
Minnesota. Can I have a mini soda instead of a load soda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, since the studio was in London, I should have said London accent.
Yeah. Let's keep going, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
She's unattractive. I'm just saying that she's not leading actress hot. I think you know you can figure out what I mean by that. She's
Yeah.
the friend of the hot actress. She's not really the hot actress.
Damn.
As for the character,
That's obviously Chewbacca.
So, yeah, well,
Tell that to Harrison Ford because he tapped that.
yeah. So, and like, not leading actress hot. So she doesn't look like a Victoria's Secret supermodel like Megan Fox.
Damn.
Actually, I prefer Leia that way. And she
that's
was
totally
pretty, and she was pretty trim in
Jedi.
Return because that slave outfit.
Is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just and I think like maybe like it's kind of like he's saying like she's very very attractive, and she's also very like personable and has a lot of good charisma. I think it's mainly just like she's not like a perfect 10 out of 10 actress, perfect 10 out of 10 woman. Which I think works better. Honestly.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Yeah. And like she seems like she's actually like she is feminine, but she's like a more approachable, attractive.
Yeah. It's not the imperial royal it's not the same as Natalie Portman when she's dressed up as the Queen of Naboo. Because the Queen is really attractive, but she's also not approachable.
Yeah. We're about to get into a comparison later on, which I think is going to make which I just was like, wow, I cannot believe that you just said that.
In other words, something that I'm going to want to tear apart.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if... Yeah, well, just wait. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be at the beginning of his Phantom Menace video, not this one. Which, let's get going, shall we?
Themselves, Luke, he's basically a farm boy who likes gadgets, so he's not really that different than Fred
No.
and Scooby-Doo.
We went over this in the pilot.
Character, he's just basically the hero. There are a lot of videos. He doesn't really have a compelling character. He's just basically the hero. There are a lot of video game characters with a lot more depth than Luke Skywalker. And as for Leia, she kind of has this obsession with faux bad boys.
No.
And Princess.
Faux bad boy? Excuse me? Faux bad boy?
He'll get into this. He'll get into this when he talks about Han Solo, but yeah, this is wrong.
Han is a smuggler.
Yeah. He's a pirate.
There is a reason that his trope is jerk with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And no, that doesn't make him a faux bad boy.
He's still a bad boy. Like,
Yeah.
he still shoots a dude.
Boring conversation anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry about the mess.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Destroyed, so why does she keep using the bad boys? And she's a princess, but her planet is destroyed, so why does she keep using the title princess and she no longer has a place to be the princess?
She uses the title princess because her parents were the rulers of the planet. That is a hereditary title. It does not matter if her planet is gone or not.
Yeah.
She can still be called a princess because that is in her records.
Historical example. Princess, a lady claimed to be Princess Anastasia of Russia. This was found out to be fake when DNA testing was enacted. But
this is the one that ETHEP covered. I remember
yeah, EFEP did cover this, but they haven't covered the prequel one. I'm just giving some context. We need to give some context for those who have not seen it. Since I know at least Space Junk has never seen this, and probably Becca. I don't know about anybody else. But this video is still really, really funny in terms of how bad it is.
I have not laughed once.
That's because you don't like Nanarf stuff. Like, so bad it's good stuff.
Nanarf?
Nanar. It's just it's a colloquial term that means so bad that it's good.
How do you spell it?
Nanar.
Oh, I think it needs 2 R's at the end.
Oh, it's French.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that's interesting.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's all slippery and slimy.
Yeah, Nanar is just a film that's so bad it's good, but in this case it's a video so bad it's good.
There's no way that's French, because if we're French, we have more silent letters in it.
True. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Ball, even though Luke is a Jedi and apparently it runs in families, she doesn't have any force power. Kind of useless.
No, Luke does not start out as a Jedi. He's only acknowledged as a Jedi in the very last film. And just because... Okay. So, you say Leia does not show that she has Force potential. I would like to point out the scene in Empire where Luke calls for her and she answers. When he's hanging underneath Cloud City. And she makes them go back. So there, evidence.
I guess we have a remarkable Republican fan.
Who cares?
Or something. That's really funny. That's really funny, actually. Or maybe somebody, like, pressed the dislike button by accident. I don't know. I don't care.
What? Someone disliked your video? Your stream?
Yeah, somebody disliked this one. I don't know why. They're not in the chat.
Let me
Oh.
see.
Yeah.
That was me. I disliked it because... Oh, never mind. It wasn't me, actually. I just thought I'd say that to see what would happen. Whoops, I think I revealed too quickly that was a joke. Sorry. I should have waited a bit just to see what would happen.
Yeah, we'll
Anyway,
see.
carry on.
He has fans.
Everyone has fans.
I think most people that watch his stuff watch it ironically, though. I think since he's been found out, he has not put out any content on his Remarkable Republican channel, which is kind of a shame to me, at least, because I find this stuff immensely amusing, and mostly because White and your reactions. But let's keep going.
For the most part, I have not been reacting.
Yeah.
The character who a lot of people like to associate with, but nobody can really justify, is Han Solo. The problem with him, as I see it, is that while he is morally ambiguous, that's not enough to make him edgy.
Edgy.
A character does not have to be edgy to be morally ambiguous. And he's not actually all that morally ambiguous. He's a smuggler to pay his bills, basically. And he's got a huge...
That's freaking fantastic.
What's this about morally ambiguous?
Han, so morally ambiguous, but not edgy, apparently.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of edgy. A little edgy.
Yeah, he's down to shoot people.
Yeah. In fact, he shoots Greedo with no provocation in the original film.
Yeah.
All they were doing was talking, and Rito hadn't done anything.
Okay, boring conversation anyway. So yes,
Yeah.
Let's move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah.
not you, him.
Damn.
He does things that should be cool, it just isn't. Partly because
What? Where is that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's.
He does things that should be cool, it just isn't. Partly because he's got a half mullet going on. He's in the bar scene. That's the most famous scene where he shoots the bounty hunter. And again, it should be like an old western. It should be badass. The problem is that scene ends too early and doesn't go anywhere. We never see any other hunters coming after Han Solo in the middle of battles with the Empire, which would make sense. But as it is,
Boba Fett is a direct response to this.
Yes, exactly. Not to mention that he's pretty good at hiding his tracks.
Yeah.
And half mullet, that's not a half mullet.
Yeah, if you want a mullet, look at Kurt Russell in the 80s and 90s, and
Mark Hamill has a mullet throughout the entire trilogy.
or a Billy Ray Cyrus throughout most of his career. I'm ashamed that I brought up that reference. Let's keep going.
You fucking kill yourself.
Sorry. Life is just so full of possibilities.
Oh. How dare you bring that up?
Why wouldn't I? It's a great line.
Pain. It's all pain. That's why now. In
I
the
know.
modern.
I know.
Okay, CT.
Well, fine here now. How are
CT.
you?
Hello? What? Yeah.
Huh.
So he was actually found out that he has a separate history channel that's actually serious called Thuristes the Historian. Yeah, when he was on EFAP, he was still playing this character or something, but I don't think that he's clear. I don't think he's I don't think he's serious at all. Like he's admitted that it's fake. And also just like most of what he says is so dumb that it can't be anything but trolling.
Well, you never know. People do say very stupid things.
Well, kind of saying that Tywin Lannister is the apex homosexual is pretty stupid.
Please get off A Song of Ice and Fire.
Well, it's similar in terms of this guy said something at the same thing.
And we get back on topic.
Yeah.
The first thing that popped into my head, sorry,
Yeah, let's keep going, shall we?
was Luke the lesbian.
Yeah.
That he commits without any consequences, so it doesn't establish his.
No consequences.
Also, he has no
consequences. Really? Okay. Then what do you call him being frozen in carbonite near the climax of Empire? I'd call that consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, fairly dim. Let's keep going.
Shoot, but so can fucking everybody in this Star Wars universe. No special skills, but it doesn't establish his badassness.
Yes, it
Also,
does.
he has no real special skills. He can fly, he can shoot, but so can fucking everybody in this Star Wars universe. Even Chewbacca, the walking carpet, can do that. His ability.
That's because Chewbacca is his co-pilot. It takes two people.
Also,
at least.
What do you call him evading the Empire throughout all of Empire Strikes Back?
And everyone flies. Yeah, maybe. But there are people who are noted for their ability to fly. Both Han Solo and Luke Skywalker are among those people.
Yeah. Let's keep going, shall we?
So what's the point of Chewbacca?
He's the co-pilot.
I know, but why is he bringing him up?
Oh, I have no idea.
But probably because like Chewbacca can fly and shoot, and that makes Han Solo not good at those things. So John Wick doesn't have any special skills because a bunch of other people can also shoot.
Yeah, clearly.
Admittedly, John Wick is the guy you get to kill. You hire to kill the boogeyman. Partially because Keanu Reeves is secretly a vampire. How else do you explain how young he looks at 50? Like he looks like he has not aged in 20 years. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of incredible. But yeah, let's keep going.
Affiliation is obvious. That's the problem with trying to portray him as a rogue. You always know he's going to be a rebel because the dude is clearly an outlaw from the Empire. He can't join the Empire. When it makes sense, he'd get arrested and executed. He has no choice but to be a rebel.
Not necessarily. The Empire hires bounty hunters.
Yeah, just because he's not with the Empire does not mean that he would be a rebel.
There are a lot of unaffiliated people.
Yeah.
Who just want to make money and run.
One notable person, not from the movies, but from the books, from afterwards, but before Disney, was Talon Card and his group. They're smugglers. They're also information brokers. They are not affiliated with either the rebels, who become the New Republic, or the Empire. They are neutral. Also, the Hutts.
Yeah, and also in the video games, you encounter various gangs that are not affiliated with either side. That if you're working, well, depending on what side you're working on, like whether you're a Jedi or a Sith, you can hire those people or kill them depending on what serves your interests.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going.
There's not really any drama there. There's not a build-up. There's no tension. His ship, the Millennium Falcon, it's become sort of symbolic, but it's really just a freighter and a piece of shit. It shouldn't be something that should be surviving.
Excuse me? The Falcon is the fastest ship in the galaxy. The fastest ship in the galaxy that made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs when the Kessel Run usually goes 14.
Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going.
Like a TIE fighter. As for Chewbacca, like I said, he's a walking carpet. He's a waste of a character. He's just supposed to be like the big dog that, kids
Excuse me, no. No. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah. Is it like the moment where Chewie is grabbing Han Solo in a hug after he hasn't seen him for a year in Return of the Jedi? That's a waste of a character, really?
No.
Okay, what did you just say? That was just because I had to step away.
Apparently, Chewbacca is a waste of a character.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And he just exists to sell toys.
Well, I'm sure the toys are cute.
Well, thing is, on a certain meta level, all of these characters exist mostly to sell toys. If you kind of go with the logic of most of Lucas's money came from the toy sales.
I think that's why Han Solo ended up being. Oh yeah, that's why Han Solo didn't get killed. They were going to have him. They were talking about having him get killed, but Lucas nixed it because if Han Solo was dead, people wouldn't want to buy toys of him.
Yeah. Let's
Well,
keep going.
and he wanted the big happy ending, and he
Well,
couldn't do that if Han was dead.
Well, yeah, and he did have the happy ending.
Yeah, let's just headcanon out what happens in Force Awakens.
Luckily, I haven't seen it, so it doesn't exist.
Yet. Let's keep going.
Well, I reject your reality and substitute my own because those movies do not exist.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yes, Adam.
Your reality, sir, is absolute lies and nonsense and poppycock, and I'm happy to say I have no grasp of it whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams, I only have one thing to say to you.
You thought you were a writer.
Yep. Let's keep going.
I watched TFA and I decided, nope, none of these movies are canon. I do not care what Disney says.
Yeah. Let's keep going, shall we?
The parents won't allow them to have like a Great Dane. Kids can buy a character. He's just supposed to be like the big dog that, you know, kids can buy a toy of and pet if their parents won't allow them to have like a Great Dane. No one would say that Obi-Wan Kenobi is the worst character in Star Wars. Obviously, that has to be C-3PO, the gay robot butler. But Obi-Wan...
Oh my god.
You're really saying that about Sir Alec Guinness? May he rest in peace. You are seriously saying that?
He's too old. Yeah, way too old. Jedi who is battle shy, aren't the Jedi supposed to use violence as like a last resort or something?
Yeah. They're only supposed to pull their lightsaber when negotiations have failed.
That is technically not really until the, at least like negotiation stuff. That's not really.
When diplomacy has failed, that's when they go to their lightsaber.
Which is not really established in the original trilogy. That's prequel lore.
Yeah, that's prequel lore. But in the original trilogy, the only two we see are Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Yoda never uses his lightsaber. And Obi-Wan only ever uses his lightsaber when
in defense of another person.
Of either himself or another person. Yeah. So the first time he pulled it, he was defending Luke. Second time he pulled it was because
it was against Vader.
Yeah. And Vader had cornered him.
Yeah.
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 I'm actually scared what this chap, is going to say about C-3PO.
Yeah, gay robot butler.
Oh, God, no. Shut up and die.
No, like, he literally says that.
Shut up and die. He is.
No one would say that
whiny?
Obi-Wan Kenobi is the worst character in Star Wars. Obviously, that has to be C-3PO, the gay robot butler. But
what?
He is whiny, yes. But it is because he's whiny that he is hilarious.
Yeah, Capillary, you were saying something?
I was just saying what, and that's all I was doing. That's all I was doing. I wasn't actually saying anything very positive.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, I wasn't really I wasn't like making an inference. This guy said himself that C-3PO is the gay robot.
Well, he thinks everyone's gay, though. He seems to think everyone's gay.
I don't think he does. I think he just makes a remark about C-3. Though, okay, actually, yeah. He thinks...
Luke is a lesbian.
And apparently Joker in the Joker movie is bisexual, and it's because of his bisexualism that he goes nuts.
Yeah, so there's a number of them where he's done that.
Okay, yeah.
So evil. I am such an asshole.
Yeah. I am thoroughly enjoying shock that is happening.
Oh no! Mostly, what I've been doing, I was just doing some edit audio shit. You know, like how some people have these really shitty videos and they have these long ass pauses when they're trying to think because they don't know how to edit their audio and stuff. So I just spliced in an old hard drive. I just have an old hard drive sound placed in when he's thinking. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Is pretty terrible. A robot butler, but Obi-Wan is pretty terrible.
Damn.
So for the character to work, he needs to be a Jedi who actually fights. But the thing is, Obi-Wan is too old to fight.
Damn.
He's not.
Not make
Yeah.
fights, but the thing is, Obi-Wan is too old to fight. And because he's too old, not only does that not make sense with the age we know him at from the prequels, but also he is just too old to actually fight, so he's totally useless. And he's not aggressive enough to be a warrior. Also, he trains by telling riddles. That doesn't make sense. It's not a legitimate way to train.
Which riddles?
Does he actually train by telling riddles, though? I mean, maybe Yoda does. Does even Yoda? I'm not even sure. But
Is Yoda even Yoda?
Well, kind of the thing is, he just puts it. He just says, feel the force flow through you." He doesn't do much training, and it's
Your
very
eyes
clear.
don't trust them.
That's pretty clear, yeah.
You need to let go of your conscious self and act on instinct.
Yep.
That's clear too.
Yeah, I guess it's mainly just Remarkable Republican is dumb and doesn't understand clear words and thinks that if you use high vocabulary, that he's telling riddles.
oh, that must be it. Yeah, he uses those long words and stuff.
But but apparently he has a master's degree? Question mark?
I don't know. Maybe it's from Gruntville University.
I think he gives his credentials in his "I'm going to defend Game of Thrones season 8" intro.
Did you chaps ever finish that one, by the way? Sorry.
Did I what?
Did you chaps ever finish that one? Or is there more of that coming up? Okay,
we
good.
haven't yet, no.
Good.
We did the first the first one, and then we did his second one, and then we got like 20 minutes into the third one.
Okay, good.
Though I love that he says that EFAP is a leftist pop culture podcast, and that Mahler is faking a British accent.
Damn.
Yeah, well, he probably has a broad definition of leftists anyway.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so Vanderbilt University is his college degree.
Vanderbilt? I thought that was reasonably reputable.
Okay, well, we did a video covering it a while back, so you can watch that. I made sure to put it out as a single thing. It's relatively short. It's only like 30 minutes, but it's really funny. Let's keep going, shall we?
Yeah.
If you're going to teach somebody about philosophy, that might make sense, but you don't train someone to be a warrior by being a smart-ass British guy.
Damn.
In the first movie,
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
No, it's more like...
Are you high?
No, not even that.
Yeah, it's... Well, no, it's not that I substitute your reality. No, I reject your reality and substitute my own. It's I reject your reality and substitute your delusions and illusions and substitute reality in.
Okay, maybe.
Since we're saying this is reality and he's delusional.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
his role in the second and third movie is totally useless. So he's completely irrelevant, but they keep bringing his ass up over and over and over. Just like
He's not.
Right. Anyway.
I think Valerian just had an aneurysm.
I don't know about just, but something else. But yes.
It's like leave smart-ass British guys alone. It's like every male in my family you just insulted.
Yeah. You sort of half insulted me, too.
Yeah.
Technically in the movie. So, again, weird way to write the script and a waste of a character and waste of time.
He's a mentor. What happens to the mentor characters?
Rip off of RoboCop. What the rip off of Frankenstein? Racially ambiguous. Uh-oh.
Obi-Wan
that's bad.
What happens to mentors in stories?
Most of the time they die, like 80%.
And most of the time they die relatively early on in the story, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're about to get into it. Here's a little tidbit. RoboCop is up as 10 years after Star Wars.
Oh.
And Star Wars still manages to look better.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Fiction. Absolutely no villain is more in the entire history of science fiction. Absolutely no villain is more overrated than Darth Vader. First of all, he's basically a ripoff of RoboCop. Think
No,
about
it's
his
not.
actual design. The difference being, of course, he uses a lightsaber rather than a gun. He's also a ripoff of Frankenstein. The idea being that he is, sort of a shell of his former self and just a conglomeration of parts and machines.
Well,
That's not Frankenstein.
But even if that were true, there's no particular shame in being influenced by Frankenstein. It's kind of a literary classic.
Yeah. Also, like, Frankenstein's a conglomeration of dead bodies. He's basically just an AI. Vader's more like a mechanical revenant who's artificially kept alive by technology.
We should probably also point out that Frankenstein is strictly speaking, not the monster, but the chap who made the monster.
That is true. Yeah, it's a slight mistake that I sometimes fall into.
Well, you're not alone, and you're not alone because what's his name does too.
No mechanical enhancements.
And
what the hell do you call his mechanical arms and legs? What the hell do you call those?
You're about to see, but it's really stupid.
Oh, God.
But in that futuristic era where you can travel at light speed or beyond, why does he not have any mechanical enhancements? Why is he so slow and ponderous? Why isn't he quick? Why doesn't he have jetpacks on him? I don't understand. It makes no sense. Also, why doesn't he have electrically enhanced senses or something? Another problem is
because he does not need electrically enhanced senses. He's got the Force.
Also, how does that even work? Like, electrically enhanced sense of smell?
How? Force increases all of a Jedi's skills and senses, including his reactions.
Yeah.
To the point that they are at least partially precog. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are better at precog than others, but all of them have the ability to deflect blaster bolts.
Yeah. Let's get into it. I actually think that, like, honestly, his Phantom Menace video is worse than this, though. So you're in for a treat.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Treat.
Yeah.
Yay,
oh yeah.
Fun.
For me. Yeah, I feel the need to use this one.
Of course. It will be extremely painful for you.
Yes, that's thank you for warning us.
Yeah.
Does his status become ambiguous in the later movies as to whether he's a good guy or a tragic hero or a badass or what he's supposed to be? But it's also not really clear what race he is. When we see his face, he's like a middle-aged white man, but he sounds like a professional black basketball player. He sounds like a very large black man, but stuck in a middle-aged children's body. It doesn't.
That is because of James Earl Jones. And you're also wrong about that because white men can have deep voices too.
No, we can't.
What's wrong with sounding like a black chap anyway, particularly?
That's racist.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just pointing something out.
I know. I'm talking about him. I'm talking to him, not you. That's directed at him.
Okay.
Most of my favorite voice actors are large, charismatic black men whose voices I wish that I had, like Kevin Michael Richardson or Keith
James Earl
David.
Jones, to use an
James Earl
example
Jones.
on topic.
Yeah, but I'm just like they're all like these large, charismatic black men that just sound great, like, and just whenever they walk into a room, they immediately command respect.
Yeah.
Even in like in Agent Cody Banks, even though the movie around him is a farce, Keith David still commands the room, and because of his amazing voice. But let's keep going.
Work. I don't understand what he's supposed to be. Darth Vader is like this massive cluster. It's not work.
Kylo Ren says hi.
I didn't hear that.
You chaps were laughing so loud I didn't hear what he said.
Yes.
It doesn't work. I don't understand what he's supposed to be. Darth Vader is like this massive cluster of contradictions that doesn't go together. It's not a combination that works. It's not interesting. It's just fucking terrible.
You laughed over it again.
Okay.
It's not a combination that works. It's not interesting. Large black man, but stuck in a middle-aged chubby man's body. It doesn't work. I don't understand what he's supposed to be. Darth Vader is like this massive cluster of contradictions that doesn't go together. It's not a combination that works. It's not interesting. It's just fucking terrible. By and large, I think that most of the original trilogy is just a sign of the fact that George Lucas was a new director who didn't know what he was doing. However, one area where he was
Okay. One, George Lucas did not direct any of these movies.
He directed the first one.
Which one?
That was Spielberg.
It was George Lucas. It was produced by Gary Kurtz. It was also written by New Hope was written and directed by George Lucas. I think maybe he had some help from Spielberg, but he is credited as the only director.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the Jedi are Satanists, I gather from this Prezi thing.
Yeah, well, let's keep going. Yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's,
God.
This is one of. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, we're about to get into some weirdness.
Was in the formation of the Jedi.
We're about to, you said.
Now, not only is it clearly anti-Christian, and the Force must be where you get advice.
No, it's not.
It's actually a religion that people believe. Now, while the use of a British actor for Obi-Wan is supposed to make us think British people are smart and wise because they have the accent.
No.
Wait, the British are Satanists? Is that what he is saying?
I have no idea what to say.
Is that what he means?
The Jedi and the Force are not modeled after Christianity. They are modeled after Buddhism, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, it's kind of a pan-religious melting pot in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. That would be
That would be the French.
Let's keep going.
Same fucking idiots who think that the Jedi religion's a real thing, but it's not. It's a fictional thing. It's not
it
like
is.
Christianity. There's no.
There is actually the Church of the Jedi. It is an actual thing now.
Yeah, which is still weird. I give it about as much credence as the Church of this Flying Spaghetti Monster, which is also a real thing.
So it's a real thing in the sense that if you look in the directory, you'd find a group that called itself the Jedi Church, and there will be people who claim to be members of it.
Yes.
Yep.
So in that sense, it's real.
Yeah.
And the Force is not. Demons have nothing to do with the Force. The Force is an energy field that connects everything in the entire galaxy.
I mean, so this is a monster raving loony party. Yeah. And it's about to get even weirder in his Phantom Menace video.
Damn.
Yeah.
A historical book which was inspired by God. There's nothing here to worship. It seems to be based on prayer or something. I don't really get what the Jedi
No.
religion is. The dark side, light side thing is obviously racist. I mean,
What?
Is that production of some kind?
What the fuck? On to other news, water is everything is random now.
Well, we knew that. We've known that for ages, though. Ever since Game of Thrones, we've known that. Sorry.
Yeah. The thing is, though, this is in 2015. This is 6 years ago.
Oh.
Oh man, look at that ratio.
Oh, well.
Damn, he has more dislikes than he has subscribers.
He has 650 subscribers. I explained why the original trilogy sucks and why Star Wars was not ruined by the prequels, but rather improved. Well, yeah.
And he barely mentions the prequels.
Well, I haven't seen him mention it yet in this video.
Yeah. Well, he's about to mention it in a second, but he's going to mention it in a weird fashion.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Look at the Jedi; they're almost all white males until you get to the prequel where George Lucas figured out that it was racist and he needed to do something about it. But in the originals, they're all white men who are Jedis, and all the people who are Sith Lords are robots or that deformed thing the Emperor is, or people or something, or so you get it, right? I mean, it's clearly the light side is for white people and the dark side is for non-whites. It's very racist and it's very obviously racist.
But
all right,
if you're
I guess that's
running a franchise.
Oh no, we're gonna get into ships. Oh.
So Palpatine is black?
Well, Vader is, or else he isn't.
Oh man, this is just wow. This is amazing. Oh my god.
Okay, carry on.
Yep.
It's trying to sell toys and also trying to make you relate with and want to be a part of the good guy organization. You want to give them cool equipment. But the fact is that all of the cool equipment is not with the Rebels. They have 3 major fighters. You have the X-Wing, which is basically like a gay F-18 Hornet. And the F-18
What did you just say?
Shit, it has to be like a gay... They have 3 major fighters. You have the X-Wing, which is basically like a gay F-18 Hornet. And the F-18 Hornet...
Okay. He did say what I said. All he said.
So making the X-Wing after it was a bad decision. You have the A-Wing, which is a lightweight fighter, which was actually stolen from the Jedi Starfighter in the prequels, and is should be outdated by this time, and it doesn't really have much of a role in the trilogy. And basically, it was just recycled and made use of later, but it should have had a bigger role in the trilogy. And then you have the Y-wing bomber, which kind of looks like the B-1 bomber, and again, it's probably their only really realistic looking ship. Like I could imagine something in space that kind of looks like that, but it doesn't seem to be very useful. And most of the time they're fighting other large ships and not bombing planets. So I'm not sure why the rebels have bombers, because supposedly they're the good guys and not trying to like bomb out civilian planets or whatever. So again, confusing and not very well thought out. I'm a very tolerant man when it comes to watching movies and seeing things that I'm not too thrilled about. But the part that made me want to pull my hair out was Cloud City. First of all, the character of Lando is basically an even more foppish Neil deGrasse Tyson. Foppish to the point of being 99% the Funky Phantom. Now, Cloud City itself makes almost no sense. So it's in the clouds. Does that make it a gas giant? I'm not sure. But if it did, how would that make sense? Because gas giants have massive gravitational force, and it would be very uncomfortable. How do you get food in a place like this? Where's the ground? Where's the soil? If it's a trade center, again, if it's a trade center on a gas giant, that doesn't make sense because the cost of fuel to take off from the thing would be prohibitive. So not very smart. And again, where the hell is the surface, and why don't they just live on the surface rather than living like the idiot, like a bunch of assholes? Look on the those things look like those things like on Dragon Ball Z that come above the earth.
Ew, that's gross.
Yeah,
Don't come over the earth.
In Cloud City, it's fucking stupid. It seems like there are a lot of fucking people out there who really like
Motherfucker.
to put down the prequels and make fun of their visuals while upholding the visual techniques and technologies of the original trilogy. However, that's really dumb. The stormtroopers don't look realistic. They're bland, colorless, lifeless, and that plastic armor can't possibly stop anything or deal with the conditions of space or other planets. I'm just sorry, it's no good. That is really shitty looking armor. It obviously has no effect. The ships are obviously toys. You look at the TIE Fighter pictured on this slide. It's clearly not something that exists in real life. It's clearly made out of plastic, and it's something that a child can play with and throw across the room. The laser weapons look really unrealistic. The lasers don't fire the way a real laser would fire. They're too contained in little pebblet things, and it just doesn't make any sense. And also, the sound effects for them are terrible. We'll talk about that more in a minute. The Imperial walkers don't make sense as weapons. Things with legs like that are obviously vulnerable and slow, so that would be something that'd be done. We need tracked vehicles like tanks or something like they have in the prequels, because again, it makes more sense. C-3PO, if he's the most advanced artificial intelligence they have, then they truly have made no advancements in AI. That's fucking pathetic. C-3PO is the most annoying character in the Star Wars universe, and I would venture to say in almost all of fiction, period.
Oh my
Like
god.
in like all fiction and history, really?
Yeah, have you seen Transformers movies, my friend? Well, maybe he likes them.
I saw like a tiny bit of one, and that was more than enough.
Yeah, and you didn't even. That was actually one of the least bad bits when they're talking about, well, Deep Wang was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad, and then there was the bit where they're looking over the car and they're, oh, this hot girl, and like a bunch of obnoxious little frat boys.
Yeah, pretty much. Or nah, we don't really do much reading.
Die painfully. I didn't tell you to die yet. Die painfully.
There you go. Now you reached your quota for the day. Now you can live.
Well, at least, I think your reaction was a lot more harsh when I said, "Oh, behold the arena of vaginas in Attack of the Clones."
Die, scream, die painfully. We're gonna mute, done, cancel, done, ban, done, death to done to death. Whoops! So I didn't mean to make anyone choke to death just now.
Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Eliminate one character from the Star Wars universe to be C-3PO. He is 10 times worse than Jar Jar Binks. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He really is. He's that much worse. And by and large, the sound effects on this thing could have been done easily on an NES, Nintendo Entertainment System from the mid-1980s. There's nothing...
Well,
Moving on here.
Considering that this was in the late 70s, that's a pretty hefty compliment. It was 8 years ahead of its time.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first film was, yeah.
Yeah.
that this movie does that the NES couldn't have done and done better. Period. At this point, some of you out there who are still obsessed with defending the honor of George Lucas's original trilogy might just say, but Remarkable Republican, you're being picky. You're really making fun of a movie from the 70s and not giving it credit for what it was. Well, that might all be true except for this. It's an epic. It's supposed to be good versus evil, and it totally fails at that because, in fact, the good guys, the rebels, are evil. Okay, Admiral Akbar, the bad guy. I mean, he is the bad guy, but the guy who's supposed to be the rebel admiral or whatever you call it, he is named after an Indian conqueror from the Middle Ages who killed millions of his own people to take over India.
Akbar was not that bad, and he wasn't in the, well, depends on what you call the Middle Ages. He was 16th century, and he was fairly enlightened and tolerant. He was not that murderous. Maybe he's thinking of someone else. But
maybe he's thinking of Allah Akbar. Maybe that's what he's thinking.
I don't know. Maybe just because it sounds Islamic, therefore it's evil or some such role.
Yeah. Also, like, Admiral Akbar isn't a bad guy.
Well,
not exactly a bad guy. Rebels, when they move into places, force neutrals to fight.
They don't force neutrals to fight. Oh my gosh.
They force loyal subjects to take up arms and get destroyed by the Death Star.
No, they don't. Alderaan was already allied with the rebels, technically, as far as I know. It's not made very clear.
Well, I think...
Yeah, they're the aggressor because the Empire is terrible. They aren't shown a lot of why it's terrible, but they are tyrannical.
The evil Galactic Empire, it does say it in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Not credits, title crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Not the victims here. They're the ones starting battles and taking over planets and generally on the offensive against the Empire. They're deeply anti-commerce, so they're hurting a lot of neutrals and they're hurting law-abiding citizens. Han Solo joins their cause. He's one of their premier guys. And there's a reason. It's because the dude is a space pirate. That's what the rebels are.
Oh, he has a point.
Well, that's because they're basically like French revolutionaries without the guillotine and execution of the rich.
Oh, okay. This is going to get interesting in a moment.
Yeah.
Law and order. They're politically correct. You see the different races they join together, and that seems to be their only real agenda, so far as I can tell, because they have no real cause.
Okay, now I know they're bad.
They have no cause other than...
And they're multiracial. But I thought before they were just white. No, that's the Jedi. I'm sorry. The Jedi and the Rebels are technically not quite the same thing.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's keep going.
No.
What's angering them? Is it the fact that they have some sort of magic man running the Empire? I doubt it. Is it because they're stormtroopers? I don't know. Does it have something to do with taxes? Well, we're not told.
They blow up a planet.
But it was probably like a multicultural planet or something, a multiculti planet, a politically correct planet, so they probably deserved it.
Yeah, kind of the thing about it is that in the lore, This is never stated in the movies that the Empire are racist against aliens and prefer humans. It's never stated why, other than just it happens. It's very poorly established, even in the expanded universe, as far as
Yeah, that's not in the films, though, is it?
Yes, it is not in the films, and even in the books where it's a part of the story, it's very poorly explained and established.
Oh, okay.
They are technical criminals, yeah. In the same way that, like, the Mistborn crew are criminals. Yeah. Well, let's keep going.
That we don't know if the Empire's taxing tyrannically, but it would be kind of hard to tax a bunch of independent planets out in space. So, I don't know. You just got to think about it. What is it the rebels fight for, and how exactly are they the good guys? How are they not the bad guys? They're the fucking aggressors. Anyway, this has been Remarkable Republican, bringing you the truth with a truth-flavored bias. And I know this is going to draw some fucking nerds out of the woodwork to fight me. That's okay. More than
Some who's out of the woodwork?
Nerds.
Some nerds.
To take on all you dumbasses. Work to fight me, but that's okay. I'm more than equipped to take on all you dumbasses. So anyway,
all they fear is you intensifies.
So remember, the Star Wars original trilogy sucks, and don't get your little hopes up about Episode 7. It's supposed to draw on these original trilogy movies, and it's probably going to suck just as much, if not more, because it's going to be imitative.
Okay, so let's all. Should we all take him on then? He wants to take us all on then.
Without much difficulty. Alrighty.
Yep. Actually, I think my toy C-3PO bus could probably take him on.
I imagine that Tyrion Lannister could easily take this man on.
Well, Tyrion Lannister, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about my toy C-3PO here.
I'm afraid I have to bounce, guys.
Okay, cool.
Ciao.
Bounce. Okay. Have a riot.
Okay. Okay, well, he's about to say, in this video, I painstakingly prove that Star Wars Episode 1 is far and away the best Star Wars film ever.
Give me a second. Hold on. Give me a second to use the restroom real quick.
Go for it. It is objectively superior in every way to the original trilogy and really set the stage for the prequel trilogy and prequels of all kinds in general. I also provide a conservative framework for understanding and appreciate this film that will force liberals to rethink their idiotic ideas. Oh my god! Oh my gosh, that's hilarious! Oh wow. I cannot believe this guy. He is kind of based, I'll give him that. But it's really dumb. Wow. Hello, is anybody else there? Was this video released on April Fool's Day? No, this is February 23rd, 2017. 2 years after his... About a year and a half after his OT video, and he never, ever, ever made another Star Wars video. I looked.
Pity he never did Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. But isn't that like to you, Balerian, who like I'd say it's fair that you're like that you identify as a liberal, and that's totally fine. But it's just I wonder if this is going to force you to rethink your ideas.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Which reminds me, I don't want to get too much into politics, but I do have to mention that apparently Revenge of the Sith, some people on the right thought it was this allegory for W. Bush and the Iraq War, and there were protests against it at the time. So I just have to mention that little, possibly amusing little nugget.
I think that a lot of people on both sides of the aisle actually think that. I don't think it's just that. I don't think it's just those people.
Yeah, maybe not, but
since
they were some of them were protesting it.
yeah.
I have no idea whether that's factually correct or not.
February 23rd is your birthday? Oh, dang.
Oh.
Ouch. Well.
Oh my god, audio. Turn it down,
Thousands
please.
of views video pointing. A bit over a year ago, I made a video pointing out how much the original trilogy sucks. That video has gotten thousands of views, and most people seem to really appreciate it. So I thought,
let's just note 777 dislikes.
Hey! From a certain point of view, people really appreciate it.
Oh,
you didn't
okay,
say
yeah.
it was well liked.
Oh, okay, you're right. I take it back.
WTF, my ears help. Yeah. Well, we're about to get into some funny bull crap here.
Oh.
Yeah.
what I should do now is show you why the prequels are superior. Let's start off with what I would like to call Exhibit A. This is what became of Carrie Fisher after Star Wars. And her movies, the original trilogy, aged even worse than she did.
That's rather
By
rude.
contrast, the female lead of the Star Wars prequels was Natalie Portman, who was always beautiful and talented, but has only become more beautiful and more talented as time has passed.
Anomaly
And
is
just as our
disgusting.
appreciation for Natalie Portman has grown and continues to grow, so too does it stand with the Star Wars prequels. In
So
particular,
that's the basis for our judgment of the two.
So,
how hot the female lead is.
Yeah, so I don't really often say this as a critique of people, since this is actually even as a guy, I don't know how much my word on this topic bears merit, but I would say that this is pretty misogynistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty sexist and misogynistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just had to when I listened to this. I think actually Friday night. I was just bored at work and I was just bored at work and I just might as well. And I just oh my gosh, wow! I cannot believe that you actually said that. Wow. There's also been significant time gap between significantly longer gap between the prequels and the originals by this point. Dang, son. So why? What do you think? What do you think of this? We're about to get to even worse crap.
Well, I mean, that is a nice picture of Natalie Dormer, or whatever her name is.
Natalie Portman. Natalie Dormer is Marjorie Terrell.
I know. I conflated the two names and turned it into Dorman.
Too many Natalies. Too many very, very attractive Natalies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
One, The Phantom Menace, which is actually the best movie in the entire franchise. In 1999, George Lucas decided to renew his Star Wars franchise, and he decided rather than proceeding through time with Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker and all of that, he would go back and tell the story of Anakin, the boy who'd grow up to become Darth Vader, and set in motion all the stuff that happened in the original trilogy. Well, it turns out that this actually started a trend in filmmaking where many, many movies would go back in time to do origin stories or prequels. And the fact is that no one has done it nearly as well as George Lucas did with The Phantom Menace.
I think no. The Planet of the Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes are infinitely better than any prequels that exist. I'm sorry. Even The Hobbit. aren't as good as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or the other two Apes prequel movies.
Yeah. Well, I can't judge of that, but I can say that Darth Vader, the character whose origin story we're getting, supposedly sucks. So that's what he said in the last video. So
yeah, that is true. He says that Darth Vader sucks. So, well, he's about to get. Yeah, I'd only say it would be equally bad if you turn it around. It said prequels are better because Hayden Christensen aged better than Mark Hamill. But how about don't? Lol. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Let's keep going. Thankfully, we can kind of hop, skip, and jump over most of this since we're going to get into some weirdness. That's like honestly like more cringe. And like politics usually isn't brought up, but he is going to bring in politics into this, like 2016 politics into this video that about a movie that was made in 1999.
yeah, hopefully we won't get too political. Hopefully.
Oh no, we'll just laugh since it's stupid.
Yeah, if we do get, I mean, we're not going to get seriously political anyway.
That's a good question. I would say so that it's, I think there are nods to the first movie that ever happened in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And it does go into a better explanation. Planet of the Apes, the movies at least, get really weird because in 3 they send 2 apes back intelligent apes back in time to the 1960s to try and stop this nuke thing from destroying the Earth. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, let's just say Planet of the Apes movies, the continuity makes no sense already. And honestly, like, if the Caesar trilogy retcons most of everything else that happened, I'm actually okay with that because the continuity is really stupid and the ending movie is bad. Is really bad. Like, it looks like Asylum movie levels of production.
Anyway, Brightness Becca says politics, yay.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Time a regular Monday for the Flash. Yeah. Good old Gorilla Grodd. But let's keep going.
Yep.
By 1999, George Lucas had a huge profile. He had self-confidence, he had experience, and he had been working on new ideas for Star Wars for about 15 years. So he had a script ironed out, so he wouldn't have to go on the fly like he did in the original trilogy. And he had a much higher profile vis-a-vis all the actors and actresses who would be working under him. So he had complete creative control, and we could really see his vision come to fruition in a way that would not be tampered with by lesser talents or people trying to promote themselves rather than the movie and the story and the universe. One critique of the prequels is that they rely heavily on CGI, but that's complete bullshit. The prequels get their distinctive look from very advanced model work that George Lucas was very good at. Lucas was the master of model work, and by 1999, he had it down to a fine art that no one else could match. I can prove that it has nothing at all to do with CGI. Look at any video game from 1999. Think about Half-Life, or hell, the video game version on PlayStation for Star Wars Episode 1. There is nothing at all which looks anything remotely like or as good as this movie from that time. The equipment in Star Wars Episode 1 is way cooler than it is in the original trilogy. Now, you might say it's because of the passage of time. However, think about it logically. This movie is set before the original trilogy. So why is it that the Naboo starfighter looks like, I don't know, a starfighter, whereas the X-Wing is basically a bastardized F-18 Eagle?
I thought it was a wasp or something like that. That's a different model than you said in your previous video. Oh man.
Ouch.
I'll that one's a waffo.
Waffo?
Yeah, watch and find out.
I don't know. It's because obviously the model work got way better, the ideas got way better, and George Lucas was able to use his imagination and achieve his full potential in this film.
That was a non sequitur. Such a non sequitur.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is so bad.
Let's keep going. It gets worse, doesn't it? It gets better, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah.
Does it get nothing better?
And
Yeah.
the technology level of the bad guys, the Trade Federation, was also very high in this movie. Unlike in the original trilogy where the Empire's clearly using mass-produced bullshit like stuff you would buy from Walmart that was made in China, the Trade Federation
What am I missing? Oh my.
They bought their ships in Walmart.
Uh-huh.
in the original trilogy where the Empire's clearly using mass-produced bullshit like stuff you would buy from Walmart that was made in China. The
Oh,
Trade
no.
Federation
Yeah. Yeah. If you're, even if a movie has bad CGI and there's a good story, usually people ignore bad CGI, but when there's like a weak story, they'll usually start picking out the bad CGI. Usually. That's at least like what I've found, so that's a good point.
is using high-end shit, like stuff that is completely able to go toe-to-toe with what the good guys have. So these droid starfighters are things that could be made by, say, like Russia, if the Naboo starfighters kind of like an American F-18 Eagle. So this could be like a MiG or something. So this is something that puts the bad guys on parity with the good guys.
On
Whereas
parity?
in Star Wars,
On parity? It puts them on the bad guys on parity with the good guys. On parity. That's
Or on parody.
Yeah, apparently the sister Russians.
Damn.
No. Commonwealth of Independent States.
Yeah. Yeah, Confederation of Independent Star Systems, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same hoo-ha, same initials. At least in English.
Yeah. We're about to get worse.
there's always a qualitative difference between the rebels who had really good equipment and the Empire, which used garbage. So that is another major improvement in the prequels in general, but in Star Wars Episode 1 in particular. Famously, A New Hope began with Luke walking through the desert, bitching and moaning after a pointless chase scene between Darth Vader and Princess Leia. Star Wars Episode 1 cuts through the bullshit and gets...
A pointless chase? A pointless chase?
Wasn't it like the basic... Wasn't it the basic plot, moving engine that moved the plot in the entire film?
You mean the inciting incident? The thing that is supposed to get the story moving? Yes.
I mean...
Yeah, we did watch that video live, so you can watch our reaction to that if you want to. It was very amusing.
What was it?
Oh, this, where this guy goes up against Shad in a debate.
Yeah, one of the chaps we had on with this was saying that Shad was wrong about some things. Though I don't remember the details because it had to do with technical fighting stuff, and I don't call myself the fighting expert because I'm not.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
it was like I think it was that chap Brent Discord chap.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that whole thing where Shad asks him, "Do you know what castles are used for?" As if he's talking to a complete imbecile, was absolutely hilarious. Which kind of he is, to be fair, but it's really funny. Let's keep going, shall we?
That's the point. There's a trade dispute, and there are two Jedi Knights addressing it. One of them we meet is called Qui-Gon Jinn. He's a new character, and we'll talk about him more. And the other one is someone who's familiar to us in a younger version. His name is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, we've jumped in. We've reestablished contact with this universe. We have a bad guy in the Trade Federation, and we have good guys, and they're already in action. So there was no bullshit, no delay, no whining, no moaning, no groaning, just straight up delivery of what the fans want and what the fans need. One of the major shortcomings of the original trilogy is that there were no actual badasses. Darth Vader sucked. He's just a bad ripoff of Frankenstein and RoboCop combined. And Han Solo is just a criminal who tries to get laid and sometimes succeeds.
So Han Solo is basically an incel, pretty much.
Yeah.
So R2 asked, "Hey, so you said something about the code of chivalry was what does it take to be Shad asked, so what does it take to be a true knight in your mind? You gotta have a code of chivalry and you gotta have the right equipment. Which code of chivalry? The code of chivalry is subjective. Wait, so the code of chivalry was subjective. Does that mean the knights in the Middle Ages were postmodernists or something?"
Figuring.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I love this video. This is so funny. Han Solo is such a criminal who tries to get laid and sometimes succeeds.
So he's mostly an incel, but then he took the course with David with the David chap, the rake chap, and he sometimes succeeds because.
Well, he did succeed. He got Princess Leia.
Did they actually do the act?
I don't think that. Well, they do it in between films since they have a kid.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
However, there are some actual badasses in the prequels. And the biggest one of them all is Qui-Gon Jinn, played by none other than Liam fucking Neeson. Now, Qui-Gon is this sort of rebel renegade Jedi. He does what he needs to do. He's sort of like the cop who gets things done. He's very smart. He's wise. He's a great mentor. He's a great warrior.
Smart and wise. That's okay. Same thing.
Not quite the same thing.
I guess. Yeah, but it's just smart and wise. Okay.
Yeah, one can be smart without being wise.
Yeah, you can be a smart ass without being wise. That's true. That's my problem consistently.
No comment.
Yeah.
He never really makes any mistakes. He's someone who is
meaning he gets lucky really, really often. Like, that's one of the things that I don't like about Phantom Menace is that he gets lucky on Tatooine, like, a lot.
Great inspiration, and we'll see that he has a massive influence for the better on everyone else in the movie. He sees potential in people and he unlocks it. He has that ability despite the fact that he himself has been mistreated and oppressed by the Jedi Council. Qui-Gon has a student named Obi-Wan Kenobi, And unfortunately, Obi-Wan sucks. He is one of the biggest weaknesses in this movie. He is basically someone who has...
Wow, I forgot about this bit.
Well, no wonder he sucks in the later film then.
Yeah, well, at least he's consistent.
Yeah.
It's an 18-year-old body with the soul of a 58-year-old trapped inside.
Wait, what? Hold on, what did you say?
Okay.
He is one of the biggest weaknesses in this movie. He is basically someone who has an 18-year-old body with the soul of a 58-year-old trapped inside.
What?
That's rather specific. That's rather specific.
What the fuck is he on about?
I don't know. I love the immediate angry reaction. You know,
all right, that's it. You have officially lost the high ground, Mr. Remarkable Republican. You little piece of shit. I'm gonna thwack you with my fucking wizard stick in a minute.
I would be very interested to hear Remarkable Renegade replica films think about this. What he thinks about this video.
That would be interesting.
I think you'll have a heart attack.
That would be interesting indeed.
Well, especially when he brings up certain comparisons, I will keep that. I will not spoil it because I think it's going to be amazing. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Luke in A New Hope. Now, this Obi-Wan is not badass or cool. He does get better, and in Episode 2, he grows a beard in honor of his great mentor Qui-Gon Jinn. However, in this movie, he's a constant source of annoyance. And we are quite lucky that he was not really a big factor in a lot of those scenes on Tatooine where Qui-Gon Jinn is allowed to do his thing without having Obi-Wan standing there bitching and moaning like an abused wife.
Wow.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, lock him in a room, make popcorn, sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, I should fire up my popcorn machine. Jesus.
This chap's similes are just something else.
Yeah, they are. They're about to get weirder.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Help! No! Ah!
Yep.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have to take refuge on the surface of Naboo after things go south up in the sky, and they meet Queen Amidala, played by Natalie Portman, who's a very dynamic character. She's very intelligent, and she was the...
I would disagree with that. Padme's not very dynamic in The Phantom Menace. She's kind of pulled around by the plot.
Doesn't she just, basically... She doesn't do much, does she?
No, she just kind of tags along on Tatooine. And
what a fucking little liar, dude. What a weaselly little liar, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like, she's not terribly dynamic in this movie. She's kind of pulled along by other characters. I guess we're using different definitions of the word dynamic.
Yep, from a certain point of view.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen of Naboo. Now, she is someone who actually seems like a queen. She has royal mannerisms, and she has the costume, and she is someone who has the traits one would look for in an elected leader.
Damn.
What does she do? The only thing she does that's kind of queenly is negotiate with the Gungans. That's pretty much it. Man.
So she's someone who brings a lot to the table and isn't just an empty crown. Jar Jar Binks is the most unfairly maligned character in Star Wars history, and here I'm going to defend him once and for all. Now, he's central to the plot. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan ultimately could not possibly have achieved their mission on Naboo without the help of Jar Jar Binks. Now, Jar Jar is their key to gaining acceptance with the Gungans, and he also is their cultural guide to a...
Not really?
Wasn't he a bit of an outcast among the Gungans?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was an outcast, and the thing that gives them acceptance from the Gungans is Queen Amidala kneeling and saying, "I don't think you're better. We're better than you."
Oh, so she does play a dynamic role in that sense.
Yeah, but it's the only thing she does for her own agency and throughout the whole movie, other than tag along with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
R2. Yes. Yeah, Remarkable Republican is worse than Cosmo.
So, are we insulting R2-D2 by comparing him with Remarkable Republican? Is that what's happening?
No, it's just that people don't want to type out Remarkable Republican.
Well, you can just do 2 R's. It's the same idea.
Yeah. R squared. I don't know about that one. I don't think so. Darth Jar Jar is just like, I don't think that's true.
It seems like a real stretch based on what I've seen in the films.
Yeah. George seems like he just made Jar Jar to be a comic relief and very little else. He's not supposed to be a drama character, really.
No.
And he's a plot device in episode 2. And then he's just gone in episode 3. Other than
Luckily.
like brief appearances in the background.
A whole different world. So the Naboo on the planet are humans. They're like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. So there's no problem there. But this is a different species that lives on the same planet, and they evolved side by side. And there are 2 societies which try to stay separate and have had some issues in the past. And Jar Jar is sort of a victim of this sort of cultural clash, but ultimately he ends up being the guy who heals the rift, and he's able to realize his potential as an ambassador because Qui-Gon sees something in Jar Jar and brings it out, and then Jar Jar will go on to be a great man in the Republic. Even though his role was downplayed in the other 2 prequel films due to George Lucas backing off of the character. What George Lucas should have done is press onward with Jar Jar because he's actually a brilliant character.
More with Jar Jar.
Oh boy.
More and more about why Jar Jar is actually probably the 2nd best character in this movie after Qui-Gon.
Wow. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, Jar Jar was and is an idiot. Yeah, Jar Jar is really dumb, and it's actually a plot point in episode 2 that he is dumb.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically he is a useful idiot. That is the major point of his character. He's not the 2nd best character in the Phantom Menace. That's kind of impressive. That's an amazing statement.
I guess the other characters must not be very good then.
Yeah. I guess. Let's keep going.
Jen, to unite what I just said about Jar Jar with what I was saying earlier about George Lucas's model work and imagination, I want you to look at this beautiful Gungan city, which was underwater and hidden from the Naboo. So during that invasion, the Gungans kept such a low profile that the Trade Federation didn't even know that they inhabited the planet. And they would ultimately be the sort of 5th column and this untapped X factor in this whole conflict. So again, you see how...
And yet, for some reason, they go to a sacred place above the water. That's...
It does look interesting, though.
It is interesting, but they abandon it in the 3rd act of the movie before they negotiate with them. It's really weird.
How George Lucas was able to utilize his creative genius and how Jar Jar is actually the key to the plot. So all of this fits together.
Yeah, you are right. The Trade Federation did know about them. They're like saying they're thinking about like clearing it out. Like they knew about it. It's referenced pretty clearly.
Like a jigsaw puzzle. Qui-Gon and crew escape, but they don't have enough gas to get to Coruscant, so they stop off at a place called Tatooine, which is this little shithole out in the middle of nowhere, to get more parts and supplies and fuel. And this is where the plot really takes off. On Tatooine, they meet the shrewd businessman Watto, who is a parts dealer who deals with spaceships. Now, the problem is that Tatooine is not a member of the Republic, at least not effectively, and it's under the rule of the Hutts, who are actually criminals, which would have been a nice bit of context to know during Return of the Jedi when we saw Jabba the Hutt.
I think we're perfectly aware in in episode 1, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. It's reasonably clear.
Yeah. And like yeah, it's just Markle Republican, you're crazy. But at least we've covered like a fair amount, and we've covered 11 minutes and 30 minutes. 1. Yeah, that is correct. 1. And it's actually just not even gas. It's the fact that their hyperdrive got damaged. Jar Jar Key. I'm so tired right now. I'm dying. Help. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But I'll leave my complaints about that movie aside, since I've already made a whole video about that. Now, Watto, as it says, is a shrewd businessman, and he's also a pretty just businessman. He has a slave named Anakin who's very skilled, and Watto, it turns out, is a kind slave master, and also someone who...
Which is really unrealistic. Like, it's very sanitized.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some slave owners were better than others, but yeah.
A just slave. How can you be a just slave owner?
Yeah, you can't really be just. I mean, maybe you can be. Some of them have been relatively milder to their slaves than others, and maybe he's one of the milder ones. But you wouldn't be just because you're owning someone.
Yeah.
And kind.
I guess he's lenient. And
I mean,
and he lets Anakin steal parts to make his own his own frickin' pod racer.
He doesn't like beat him or anything, I guess.
Yeah. Like, maybe it's the fact that he only has one slave, so it's more like northern slave ownership than southern slave ownership, I suppose. Maybe.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. You can only call someone a just slave master if you don't think slavery is inherently unjust. Yeah, the only just way indentured servitude is the only way that it could like be considered semi-just, is if you're saying there's an agreed upon time, you're working with no pay because of you owe a substantial debt. That's the only way it could be considered just. Otherwise,
yeah, I would say that probably isn't just either, because you're enslaving a person basically because they were poor.
Yeah, true.
So.
Will keep his word even if he doesn't necessarily want to. So on a certain level, Watto actually is a very honorable character, which is something that goes unnoticed by a lot of people who try to pretend like he's supposed to be a Jew, which is...
What? Say that again?
Ooh, comment.
Which is something that goes
unnoticed by a lot of people who try to pretend like he's supposed to be a Jew, which
What?
is complete bullshit, because no Jews have wings and are supposed to be flies.
Ooh. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. They don't have wings or
Well, that's true. He's correct. Jews don't have wings. Not that I know of, anyway.
Okay. Why did you bring up the Jew comment? What? There are elements of the Jewish moneylender stereotype in Watto, but not much. Yeah, you can see why I wanted to cover this, because we're clearly getting a lot of engagement. It's really funny. It's just baffling how bad this is. It's going to get worse.
What, worse than Jews don't have wings?
Yeah.
And aren't supposed to be flies.
Yeah.
Bullshit, because no Jews have wings and are supposed to be flies. As soon as Qui-Gon meets Anakin, he knows that Anakin's no ordinary slave boy. And as he begins to talk with him, he realizes that Anakin has special powers.
That's actually a good point. Why didn't he bring up the black stereotype? Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, it's strange.
And is attuned to the Force. And luckily, this movie actually has expository dialogue, unlike the original trilogy, where the story...
There's some exploratory dialogue, just not an extreme amount, but there's some.
You don't really need as much expository dialogue for the original trilogy. It's very simple and straightforward. You actually need more expository dialogue for the prequels, because there's a lot of stuff that is just like George Lucas throwing in everything in the kitchen sink into this movie.
Kind of bumbles along and you figure things out as you go. Here, Anakin actually has a phone call with Obi-Wan talking about metachlorians.
A phone call, did you say?
Yeah, a phone call with Obi-Wan talking about midi-chlorians.
I don't remember.
Why does that have to do with anything?
Anakin actually has a phone call with Obi-Wan.
Anakin has a phone call with Obi-Wan
talking about metachlorians, so that way we know why Anakin is powerful, and we know
that is factually wrong.
I don't remember a phone call, and I thought it was Qui-Gon.
It was Qui-Gon, and we get midichlorians explained in a face-to-face meeting with Qui-Gon and with Anakin and Qui-Gon. Oh my gosh! Depends on when. Depends on what it is. Depends on when it's placed and where. Sometimes you need expository dialogue. Like in a heist movie, you need to have it explained. Yeah. You need to have the stakes of the mission explained very clearly. Yeah.
Why every Jedi is powerful. So the whole metachlorian thing is actually explained in detail. And we also know that the reason why Jedi seem to have really good reflexes is because they can see a little bit into the future. And that they can literally think ahead. So they are literal supermen, just like people in Greek mythology, like Epimetheus and Odysseus and all these other characters.
Odysseus is not a Superman. He's just smart.
Superman.
Literal. Well, he also overuses the word literal, although he's not alone in that.
Also, Epimetheus is the Titan god of afterthought and excuses?
Wait, Epimetheus is the chap who created Pandora, if I'm not mistaken.
He's the guy who married Pandora. The Olympian gods created Pandora and then married her off to Epimetheus because Epimetheus is stupid. He's basically like Prometheus is the god of intelligence, whereas Epimetheus is the god of dumb. Like he's the god of afterthought and excuses.
Let me check here.
I'm looking up on Wikipedia. I'm just looking up on Google right now.
There were a pair of Titans. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they're brothers, as far as I remember. Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah.
And, Epimetheus was responsible for da 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 da.
Yeah. Yeah.
Epimetheus was the one who accepted the gift of Pandora from the gods.
Yeah.
Their marriage, da da da.
Yeah. So these comparisons are insane. Like, they're absolutely insane. What feat? I don't know of any real feats that Epimetheus is accredited with. This is so weird. I don't know why he's using Epimetheus, the literal god of excuse of BSing his way through life through excuses.
No, I don't remember anything particular. Prometheus did stuff.
Yeah, Prometheus did stuff. He stole fire.
He stole fire.
And Odysseus is not a Superman. He's just a regular dude. That's part of his appeal, is that he's a regular guy who has no godly parent, who can outsmart people and gods just through his cleverness. It's so dumb. And also, like, goddesses want to sleep with him all over the place. At least 2 of them.
What? Who? Oh, Odysseus. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like he gets with Circe and Calypso.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see what's happened. What wonders await us.
Yeah.
After being encouraged by Qui-Gon to use the Force and to trust his instincts, Anakin is able to finally fulfill his lifelong dream of actually entering a pod race and winning. Before he had entered but not done that well. And here we see Anakin's genius as a pilot, his use of the Force, and also his mechanical know-how come into play. So it turns out that all those years as a slave mechanic for Watto are a lot of what made Anakin the formidable Jedi he'll become in episodes 2 and 3. So the people who would condemn Watto because he's a slave owner are missing the point, and they don't understand the ways of the Force. Also,
I'm missing a logical connective there.
Yeah, how does that connect or translate? Wow, that's insane.
So, if you think that his being a slave owner makes him bad in some way, then you don't understand the Force.
Yeah. I love how just James Kingston is considering saying, wait, what? That's not how the Force works. No, it doesn't.
So the Force says, okay, I'm cool with this kid being a slave, so I'm going to give him powers.
Yeah. Brain failing, need more beer. Yeah.
pod racing is fucking awesome. It has all of the thrills and spills of the Reno air races with the accessibility of something like NASCAR. So,
thrills and spills.
Thrills and spills.
That makes no sense, but we'll keep going. It rhymes, but it's stupid. Like oil spilling? I guess.
Everything about it is just perfect. And I love how they set up this whole system for how it works and how people from neighboring planets come in, how there's betting and cheating and fan favorites and all this stuff. So pod racing is its own mini contained universe, and you get all this in about 5 minutes worth of film.
Mini contained universe, huh? Okay.
I think it's more than 5 minutes.
What? Yeah. We haven't gotten to the worst bits yet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
So George Lucas did an absolutely brilliant job of laying out how pod racing works. Qui-Gon's wisdom led him to put a bet on Anakin winning the race, and he was able to have Anakin freed from slavery with that.
He needed it. He needed Anakin to win that race A, because he's a long shot, and B, he needed the money for the parts. It wasn't Qui-Gon's wisdom. It was necessity that he bet on him. And then he just complicated the bet further.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. This is so bad.
And that led to one of the most touching and heartbreaking scenes in cinematic history, where Anakin, the young...
Oh my god.
Cinematic history.
Yeah.
I guess it's...
I mean, it's touching.
But we barely know these characters, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's touching enough. But
There's-
I don't know about cinematic history, though.
Yeah. I would say that there's far more touching moments in cinematic history.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
7 or 8-year-old boy who was perfectly happy at home with his mother had to say goodbye to his mother, Shmi. And this was a very emotional and very realistic scene that was extraordinarily well acted. And anyone who wants to shit on Jake Lloyd should rewatch that scene. And what they'll see is that this is a guy who really should have stuck with acting, because he had more talent at the age of about 10 than most people, including a lot of very famous people, have or demonstrated at any point in their career. It also turns out that Anakin, being the mechanical genius that he was in fact the inventor of C-3PO, and the guy who was putting together the unit that would go on to be in pretty much every Star Wars movie. Now, C-3PO is a useless character who's mostly there for comic relief, so you can see the progression in George Lucas's skills as a director. So C-3PO here, we get to see his origins, and we also get to see his deep connection to the Skywalker family. At the same time, we get to see him contrasted with Jar Jar Binks, who actually has a central role in the plot. So this was a fairly clever way for George Lucas to show his audience the evolution of his technique as a director and as a storyteller. And I, for one, catch on to what he's saying. And even though I'm not a big fan of the humble brag, I do think that George Lucas can pat himself on the back at least a little, because his technique clearly had improved dramatically. There's a simultaneous storyline developing, and it has its own kind of exposition. So while there's all this exposition about the good guys, about an equal amount is going on with the bad guys. And we learn that there's a secret bad guy well placed in the Republic government, and he has an apprentice who's like this assassin badass. This guy looks like a devil. And they're the ones pulling the strings of the Trade Federation. So all of the woes that have befallen Qui-Gon Jinn and his group ultimately go back to this masked man and his assistant. As they're leaving Tatooine and trying to board their ship, Qui-Gon and crew are attacked by Darth Maul, who comes out of nowhere on a speeder. And they have a badass and brief lightsaber battle where it's a pretty even match between the two of them, but we can see that Qui-Gon is clearly the better fighter from the fact that he's able to maneuver Darth Maul into the area he needs him to be at so that Qui-Gon, can jump on the ship. And he effectively coordinates this maneuver by giving instructions to Obi-Wan on where to put...
No, he doesn't. Obi-Wan moves the ship on his own, or at least directs exit to be moved. This is factually inaccurate.
The ship and how to lower the ramp. So it's a very well choreographed moment, and it really shows that Obi-Wan respected Qui-Gon as a master, and that Qui-Gon was able to come up with plans really quickly and execute them. So it really goes to show you everything that's great about Qui-Gon Jinn. And it also shows that because Darth Maul is able to give Qui-Gon a legitimate challenge, that he is a bona fide badass bad guy.
Okay.
When the group arrives on Coruscant, they're immediately greeted by Senator Palpatine, who is the senator from Naboo and a political ally to Queen Amidala. And at this point, we've had no hints at all that Palpatine might be a bad guy. that only really comes about in the third movie, and the hints only become obvious once you've seen the third movie. This movie does a really good job of planting clues, but clues you can't possibly put together without having seen the third movie. So Palpatine builds up brilliantly, and he's kind of this political mastermind. He's got like the IQ of Mitch McConnell, but with the charisma of like a Donald Trump. So
now I'm imagining Palpatine on Twitter saying calling the rebels sad or something.
Oh my.
I'm just imagining him lashing out at everybody on Twitter, including Darth Vader. Oh yeah, he'll probably lash out at Darth Vader on Twitter too.
Clues? What clues? What? Let me actually, since I just watched this a little bit ago, I need to look up who is Mitch McConnell exactly. Oh, he's a member of the Senate. Okay. Okay, so he's been a senator since 1985. Okay. Oh, wow. The top story is Trump labels McConnell a stupid person for refusing to eliminate filibuster.
So, well, you see, that's what Palpatine would be doing then. He would be spending he'd be on Twitter saying caustic things about everybody.
Oh, please, God.
I know. We don't want to.
I know.
We won't get too much.
No, we won't get into it very deeply. Okay, so he's he's head of. Okay, he's a very prominent Republican senator. Okay.
What, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, I thought you were kidding or something. Sorry.
No, I looked it up and just like, oh, he's just a member of the Senate. I didn't know that he was Republican, but I guess that makes sense.
Well, not only is he Republican, I mean, he's the one who said that he wanted to make Obama a one-term president.
Okay.
And he's been very, you probably don't follow the news very much, huh?
No, I actively avoid the news.
Well,
because I have better things to do with my time.
Well, there's a certain wisdom to that.
Yeah, and especially since most of the news contradicts itself because Google and all search engines are basically an echo chamber, and there's no way of verifying most of the information. The only thing that you can really verify are stats and voting info. That's the only thing you can verify, really, or actual policies that have come out, rather than policy plans, since those are subject to change.
Yeah, I mean, you can verify a decent amount, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Palpatine's this brilliant political operative, and he really is able to sell himself as a master of virtue. And it turns out that even though he seems as honest and statesmanlike as someone like a Mitch McConnell, he's actually as deceptive and crooked as someone like Hillary Clinton.
This just got good.
Oh yeah, I told you.
Some hot water over here.
Crooked Hillary, crooked Palpatine. Lock him up. Now I'm imagining a bunch of who yelling, lock him up. Some kind of.
I think we need to start making a what counter. I think this is 5, 6.
Oh, way over. We're way over that. We're at least 20 by now.
Yeah. As wow. This isn't the worst part.
Oh. God damn. You are really satanic. You are really wanting to get into a real political discussion over here, do we?
Graciously to invade a certain bard I'm not going to say that sentence has interesting connotations. I was going maybe isn't the bard technically invading you? I'm terrible. I'm so sorry.
Go kill yourself.
No comment. Kill him. Just die screaming for mercy in the pits of hell. Let's keep going.
Really brilliant character and someone who you can both love and hate and really kind of just have to admire as a bad guy and really have to admire as a master manipulator.
Dude, what a
Qui-Gon and
fucking
Obi-Wan also meet the Jedi
liar,
Council
dude.
at this point, and it turns out that the Jedi
little
Council are
liar,
not nearly
dude.
as wise as
Holy
they see
shit,
them at
dude.
first glance, or as we might have expected them to be. And I think that's one of the best parts
Holy
of this movie.
fucking shit,
Is
dude.
that they really show the vulnerability of the Jedi Council, and they establish that so you know going into the second and third movies that you're dealing with a flawed institution. Now, Yoda is basically the same as we remembered him back in the original trilogy, except this time he's healthy. I mean, he's still very old, but he's still healthy. And we also meet some other Jedi as well. One of the other major leaders on the council is Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson. And he'll prove himself to be a badass, just as you would expect from Samuel L. Jackson in due time, but only after he sees that he was wrong and everything that he said in this movie. Now, here he is the main leader against Qui-Gon Jinn. It's clear from the context that he is the reason why Qui-Gon Jinn is not on the council, because Mace Windu doesn't like him. And Mace Windu also questions Qui-Gon's judgment that Obi-Wan is ready to face his trials and become a full Jedi Knight.
That is not in the movie. None of that is in the movie. He's actually believes Qui-Gon that there's a Sith Lord.
Actually, especially if you go into the expanded lore shit, if we're going way off the movie, yeah, that's very not true.
Yeah. And nobody ever casts aspersions that Obi-Wan is not ready. They just say you already have an apprentice. That's it.
That's just your opinion, bro.
My opinion is right.
Damn.
And he also rejects Qui-Gon's insistent demand that Anakin be trained as a Jedi and that Anakin is the chosen one. And it turns out that Mace Windu and Yoda and the rest were wrong on all three counts. And it's only after Mace Windu realizes that, he'll never admit it, but he does realize it, that he actually reaches his full potential and goes out and does good. You'll see that he becomes a badass in episodes 2 and 3. And in that sense, I guess you could compare Mace Windu with Ted Cruz in this most recent election. So Ted Cruz at first, because he didn't like Trump, stayed out of it. And if you think of Qui-Gon like Trump, eventually Ted Cruz did.
Wait, what did you just say? I'm sorry, I had to step away.
Okay.
Qui-Gon like Trump? What? Ted Cruz? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Okay,
So I guess you could compare Mace Windu with Ted Cruz in this most recent election. So Ted Cruz at first, because he didn't like Trump, stayed out of it. And if you think of Qui-Gon like Trump, eventually Ted Cruz did come out and campaign for him, even if he did so grudgingly. And that's basically the same relationship dynamic that Mace Windu and Qui-Gon Jinn have.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Qui-Gon. Okay, so Mace Windu is Ted Cruz, and Qui-Gon is so-and-so, is that other chap. Okay, well, a lot of people are Trump, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm Trump too, secretly, somehow, I guess.
Yeah. So Qui-Gon Jinn is like Trump, I guess.
Well, who isn't, really?
You aren't like Trump.
Well, from a certain
How
point
do you know that?
From a certain point of view, I probably am.
Yeah, let's keep going. We got 8 minutes left. We've covered this relatively quickly, but yeah, this was really bad.
While wrapping up the rest of the plot and everything that happens, I would like to stick with this general theme that Qui-Gon Jinn is effectively the Donald Trump of this movie. He is the savior and the guy who really ties everything together and put together a coalition of good guys to beat an overwhelming force of bad guys who are basically like the Democrats in this election. They were led by Hillary Clinton. They seemed unstoppable. But Qui-Gon...
Who's like the Democrats? I'm sorry.
Okay. But okay.
And everything that happens, I would like to stick with this general theme that Qui-Gon Jinn is effectively the Donald Trump of this movie. He is the savior and the guy who really ties everything together and put together a coalition of good guys to beat an overwhelming force of bad guys who are basically like the Democrats in this election. They were led by Hillary Clinton. They seemed unstoppable. But Qui-Gon, or Donald Trump, was able to really bring out the best in all of his allies and get everybody together on the same page.
I don't remember being quite like that.
I don't either.
Today's news, I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore. It's
Well,
just
I mean, he's
incoherent
talking,
noise.
he's talking about the 2016 election, so let's see.
Yeah.
So first up on this honor roll is Natalie Portman's character, Queen Amidala, who was willing to fight in person and show some real balls, or whatever the female equivalent of balls would
No
be.
comment.
And she...
No comment.
All right, then.
No comment.
That's amazing. That's impressively bad. I think like this is just impressively bad. Man, that's bad.
Was a queen who led in person and was basically a warrior queen like Boudica or Xena or something like that.
So at least he didn't compare Queen Amidala to, I don't know, Ted Cruz or Mike Pence or who else was there? I don't know. I won't call that out.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh there. Oh, no. No comment. Really no comment. Oh, God, no.
Also, like, Boudica or Xena, how did those... Xena's not a queen. She's also not real.
Well... I think Boudica was a warrior. Actually, was a warrior queen.
Yeah, she was a warrior queen. That's why I'm saying that Xena and Boudica have nothing to do with each other because Xena isn't a queen.
Yeah, I kind of forgot.
Also, they're
Damn
technically
you.
barbarians. They're technically barbarians. Like, Xena's a barbarian, as is Boudica.
Well, I mean, the barbarian is just someone who's not Greek or Roman.
True, I guess like they're primitives.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess they were less advanced than the Romans, but I don't know.
Not a lot of them. Not at all.
Wholesome of your awfulness. Yeah, I said piggyback ride. I didn't say who is giving who the piggyback ride.
Shut up! Shut up! Just stop it! Just stop it! Just
And
stop
she
it!
was just great in the closing scenes of this movie. She rallied her people to revolt, and they fought a whole battle in the palace, and it was really good. Jar Jar Binks,
And it was
of
really
course,
good. Oh my god.
Oh, it's so basic.
Yeah, it's so
They fought
basic.
the battle, and it was very good. Okay, moving on now.
George R. Binks.
Is Jar
Jar R.
Jar
Binks.
Is Jar Jar Binks also Trump?
Is he George R. R. Martin's cousin?
No,
No,
he's too
what?
skinny. He's too skinny to be George R. R. Martin's relative. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he must be the king one then.
Yeah.
confidence and identity when he met Qui-Gon Jinn, but he learned how to be a leader from Qui-Gon Jinn, and he so impressed his own people that they elected him to be a quote, Bombad general. I'm not sure what that means, but I assume it's kind of like a 4-star general or something like that. And in the battle, we see that Jar Jar is by far the most effective of the Gungans. He personally destroys a few tanks, and his men seem to be inspired by him. And
they're inspired by Jar Jar. I missed that. Wow, that's funny. Aren't you so happy? Which is what? So it seems like, White, you're having a lot of fun with this one as opposed to the Game of Thrones one.
Game of Thrones was more painful because I had to remember the show. This one's like, holy fuck. You're just insane.
Yeah. And yet it's kind of like less hard to sit through than Maggie.
Fuck you. We're not doing that.
We should do another Maggie video. I need to find one of her videos. Let's do some of her DCEU videos.
DCEU? Are you fucking mad?
Or her Kirk Cameron video.
How about no?
Let's see.
Kirk Cameron and Maggie Fish in one video. I don't think I can survive that.
His men seem to be inspired by him. I don't remember that. I don't remember any of that. I mean, that's in Darths and Droids said something like that, but I don't remember that in the actual film.
Because you have a good memory, unlike this person.
Oh dear. Help. Okay.
Yep.
I think we're ready. move on.
he seems to be the guy with, having the strategy of setting up the shields and all that stuff.
What? I remember him hanging off of things, trying not to get killed. That's what I'm remembering.
Also, he doesn't even give the order to start up the shields. That's Captain Arfus, or whatever his name is. That's hilarious.
So he does a really good job, and ultimately the Gungans don't really win the whole thing, but Jar Jar puts up a very valiant effort.
Jar Jar.
And in that sense, it's kind of like how Ben Carson helped Trump win a lot of black voters, even if they didn't actually quite win.
Why are we comparing two randomly different things? Like, whoa.
Okay, Ben Carson, do you say? I guess that's... I don't remember that name.
I don't care.
Some other Republican chap, I guess.
Okay, so he's the former United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and he is... So, just because Jar Jar is played by a black man, he's comparing it to Ben Carson helping out with the election, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they won the... Yeah.
This is so dumb.
I guess that's the only time he so far has referred to the whole Jar Jar Black controversy.
I guess so, but it's not even like referring to it as a controversy. He's just saying, like, yeah, it's like Ben Carson swaying a bunch of black voters to Trump, even if they didn't actually win.
Yeah.
In the black vote.
And
was still an important part of Trump's ultimate victory. So I would say the same thing about Jar Jar Binks in this case. He did his best and he did really well, but ultimately he was only one part in this machine that was brought together by Qui-Gon Jinn. The malice at the palace actually broke.
The malice at the palace.
The malice at the palace. What was that about spills again? Thrills and spills?
Yeah, I guess so. This is so bad. This is hilariously awful. I know that, like, well, at least Valeria had a good laugh when I said, "Oh, you have a better memory than this guy." Very simple.
Well, I'm sometimes stepping away, so I don't necessarily.
No worries. Well, we're almost done. We only have less than 5 minutes left.
And her guards, and the other one with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fighting a lightsaber duel against Darth Maul. Now, not only is this the best lightsaber duel in Star Wars history to this point, it will be surpassed in the other prequels, but to this point, it had been by far the best duel. We see a 2-on-1 of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Maul, and Darth Maul really shows that he's actually a little better than we thought he was in that last scene, and he and Qui-Gon are going toe-to-toe, and Obi-Wan, as junior man, is really struggling to keep up, and he almost falls to his death a few times. Later in the duel, Qui-Gon is actually struck down, and he dies when Darth Maul got in a lucky shot. And Obi-Wan continues the battle even though he's massively outmatched, because Qui-Gon has taught him well, and he has to avenge his master and try to live up to that. Well, Obi-Wan actually does okay, and Darth Maul has him. And right as Darth Maul's about to finish him off, Obi-Wan pulls a Qui-Gon move. He does something risky, bold, and unexpected. He goes against the grain, and because Obi-Wan is normally a very staid person, very traditional, very establishment, but he follows the example of Qui-Gon and does the unexpected. And
I would disagree with that quite a bit. How is jumping up and over your opponent pulling a lightsaber to you not bold, reckless, and risky? That sounds like it's just creative and desperately creative. Slight difference there. Man.
Okay, what did you just say that was stupid?
Very staid person.
Basically, the move that Obi-Wan pulled to kill Darth Maul was against the grain and bold and risky, even though he's a normally staid and very
traditional, very establishment.
But
but he follows the example of the unexpected. And Darth Maul doesn't anticipate that move, and it allows Obi-Wan to slice him in half and win the battle. So that's another example of Qui-Gon acting like Donald Trump.
I knew he was going to bring something up politically when he talked about winning the battle.
We'll see as time goes on, the Obi-Wan character actually got a lot better as the prequels progressed, because Obi-Wan decided to follow the example of Qui-Gon. And there's a scene where Obi-Wan greets his master as his master's dying, and Qui-Gon makes him promise to train Anakin.
Greets his master's...
Says farewell to his master, I guess you would say.
That's... we don't harp on it too much, but just bad wording, like most of what he says.
Pretty much.
Obi-Wan agrees, faithfully, since Obi-Wan was not quite ready to do something of that nature. And it's only fitting that the person most inspired by Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin, is the guy who really won the battle. Now, Anakin got into a fighter for protection, a Naboo starfighter, and then he and R2-D2 flew up to join the space battle above Naboo against the Trade Federation.
Kind of what Donald Trump and Mike Pence did.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Wouldn't it be right if you actually said that?
It would be really funny. I told you it got worse, and I was right. Was I correct?
It got effing better.
Yeah. Legitimately kill me. Vote Monster Raving Moody Party guys. Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Oh, Lord Buckethead.
Yeah.
My favorite politician.
Yep.
Performs brilliantly. All that time as a pilot of pod racers really prepared him to be a fighter pilot, and that with his force abilities enabled him to land on this command ship, blast the engines, and then fly away unharmed as that ship exploded. And when that ship exploded, then all of the droid troops on the planet were deactivated, and the Gungans and others were able to officially seize victory.
It kind of reminds me of how the Democratic campaign in 2016 exploded.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, kind of basically apparently, Phantom Menace is Republican propaganda in 1999?
Well, there was Republican propaganda in 1999, probably, but it wouldn't have had to do with Trump, though.
Weasley, little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
Yeah. Release the emails, Hillary.
What did he say?
Release
the
Release the Kraken emails.
That's actually funny.
Release the news.
Yeah. We're almost there. We'll finish this.
On many levels, the way that this worked out, it shows that Anakin is the true heir to Qui-Gon Jinn, who was the primary organizer and mover and shaker in the movie. And it also shows that it was this organized response by what amounts to the People's Militia, meaning Naboo,
People's Militia. Are we talking about like
the revolution?
Sorry, Valerian, you're saying?
Are we talking about militias like the militias in the West, that kind of militia?
I guess so, or the fact that like they're volunteer citizen soldiers, so I guess they are militia.
Huh, yeah.
Revolution.
Yeah.
Their own, Anakin acting on his own, and the Gungans that won when the government failed to show up. The Republic government didn't show up, and it took all these people standing together and acting as a militia to make things happen. So this movie actually is brilliant. And it really even further reinforces the point I was making that Qui-Gon Jinn is the Donald Trump of this movie. He really inspires people to make things happen.
Jesus Christ. If we had to take a shot time she says that guy's name, we'll be fucking dead on the floor.
Well, it's only like 5 times, admittedly.
Well, maybe. I think it might be more than that, but yeah, it feels like a lot more than it is somehow.
Well, from a certain point of view, if you take some really strong alcohol.
Let's be generous and say about 8.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like a lot considering the absolute and total irrelevancy to the story of the film.
Yeah. Yes, Donald Trump was alive in 1999, but he didn't run for office until 17 years after.
Yeah, he was alive. I mean, he was alive in the 80s. I remember there was a whole thing about him and Marla Maples or something.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff, yeah. We won't get into that, but it's just like, yeah, he's bringing up some weird, edged metaphors here and connections.
Yes.
Why are we here? Just to suffer.
Well, I'm not suffering.
I know it's me and Valerian. Well, maybe just me.
I think it's just you, since Valerian's laughing, or maybe that's just laughing out of pain.
Well, I knew it was going to be horrible, so I'm not disappointed.
When they're normal leaders, the establishment like the Jedi Council and the Republic just simply can't get things done.
Just like
what I just said goes against the grain, and that the Donald Trump interpretation will probably not go over well with a lot of the liberals who like to troll my channel.
Yeah, the mid-charge aren't going to like it. Yeah, they're not going to like.
They aren't going to like the fact that you are insane.
Well, actually, we kind of do like it.
Well, okay, we think it's funny because you're insane. But I would consider myself a semi-right-leaning centrist. That's what I would consider myself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know who Mitch McConnell is, so I don't think you're terribly political one way or the other.
No, yeah, like I'm not really that political. But if I were to like be forced to like gun to my head, take a stance, I'd be like, I'm a right-leaning centrist, libertarian, sort of.
But I mean, your view of politics seems to be mainly have to do with what people say on random YouTube channels. So,
yeah, and I just like don't care. There's a lot of I just really don't care unless it's an actual policy.
Yeah, I mean the policy is the main thing. I mean the only reason for supporting this or that politician, from my point of view, is because you support their policies. I'm not going to get into that, but it's not the other way around.
Yeah, it's usually like basically voting is basically built on how does this politician benefit me personally.
Yes,
and that's basically that's as deep as politics usually goes.
Oh yeah.
That's if you're lucky.
Yeah. Or there's like I want to vote for this person to spite other people. That's also there. But
yeah, or everyone I know votes for these people, so I'm going to vote for them too.
Yeah. Well, I haven't suffered on much. Well, I think like the worst was the Transformers movies. Those were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back.
Why did you do it?
Because it was funny. Because it will probably be funny for people to watch.
I don't know. That's too glorious a sacrifice.
Keep in mind, what I just told you is objectively true.
Damn. We're done for. We're screwed, man. We're screwed.
I'm sorry, Brett.
That's it. That's it, guys. We gotta pack up. We gotta leave. We're done for.
What did you say? Just say, I'm sorry, Dead Chap. What were you saying? I was laughing too hard. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Damn. We've been routed. Guys, what can we do? We've been completely destroyed objectively.
Objectively destroyed.
We have to pack up our bags.
Yeah. Oh man! And also we have Jar Jar Binks standing, glaring at us, giving us a finger.
And Jar Jar Binks is like making a rude gesture at us.
I am triggered.
Oh man! Let's back up a little bit.
To keep in mind, what I just told you is objectively true. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is objectively superior to the original trilogy in every single way. And we'll see that this excellence is continued throughout the prequels, even if they're not quite up to the same standard as Episode 1. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to say that I still believe, and I'm very serious about the idea that Qui-Gon Jinn is the real linchpin to the prequels. Had Qui-Gon survived this movie and gone on to train Anakin himself, I think that Anakin would have turned out a lot differently. So the real tragedy of Star Wars Episode 1 is the death of Qui-Gon Jinn. Mm-hmm. Qui-Gon was much wiser than the Jedi Council. He would have called on the Palpatine a lot sooner. And he would have been the guy who would have really saved the Republic, even though he might have gone to prison for assassinating a senator. But he would have got the job done.
He would have got the job done. And why do I have a bad feeling that there's going to be another political reference coming up shortly?
Oh, great. Here we go.
Probably.
The Jedi Council would not. And you know what, guys? If you disagree with me, then you're just disagreeing with the truth. And as
we can't compete. We can't
I guess
compete.
not. I guess not.
Yep,
go
we're defeated.
I'm Remarkable Republican, bringing you the truth with truth-flavored bias, signing out.
Damn.
And here I was so sure he was going to say, compared Qui-Gon to you-know-who again.
Oh my God.
Anakin, it's a pity, because if Anakin were still alive, then, I mean, if Qui-Gon were still alive, Anakin would have become Donald Trump's heir, but instead, he probably turned into John McCain or something like that. And
Yeah, good question. Yeah, very good question. Yeah, just okay, so to summarize, the original trilogy is bad because Mark Hamill looks like a middle-aged lesbian. Carrie Fisher isn't leading Lady Hot. Darth Vader is a ripoff of Frankenstein's monster and RoboCop.
Don't forget he is racially ambiguous.
Yeah, he's racially ambiguous. The rebels are evil because they're anti-commerce. They're politically correct, and Y-wings are basically X-wings are gay F-18s.
Oh, and C-3PO is also gay.
Yeah, C-3PO is a gay robot butler, and he's the worst character in Star Wars. Like, he's worse than Jar Jar Binks. Okay. Qui-Gon Jinn is basically the Donald Trump of the Star Wars universe, and that is a good thing because he improves everybody and brings people together against the evil trade federation who are the Hillary Clintons of the Star Wars universe.
Yep. Palpatine, I believe, is Hillary Clinton trying to disguise herself as Donald Trump.
No, it's Mitch McConnell, and he has the smarts of Mitch McConnell, but the hateability of Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so he's a trifecta.
Yeah.
I wanted to just give us one last funny little bit before we leave.
Oh, lovely.
Uh-oh.
So here's our favorite commercial guy, and here we go.
Hi, Billy Mays here for the big station. The fast and easy way to press and cook delicious burgers into your toilet. It's that easy. And Hercules Club penetrate everyone. I can. It's that easy. Let's move to your bed. Jupiter Jack. We're talking to your bed with the handy switch. And Lee White, Billy Mays, Mighty Putty. And everyone.
What?
It's that easy.
I love these little things.
I just randomly. Well, we're glad we're almost finished.
Yeah, sorry. You missed the good stuff, but you can watch it again and come back to it.
Yeah, yeah, totally rewatch it. It was worth it. We had a great time. And apparently, like
the quest for the bag of Google. Google. Michael Rosen.
I feel like I've seen it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost done. But if you want to rewatch the stream, totally go for it. It was quite interesting, especially the prequel video. I think that was actually that made us laugh a lot more than the OT one.
Oh yeah.
Well, it had some very interesting political analogies.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it good there.
All right. Damn it! I couldn't find the better ones.
Forget reality. Forget reality. So come to madness. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm going insane.
Yeah. I think we all. Yeah. The Rise of Skywalker is very amusing. I will definitely agree. We already did a stream on that one.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there either.
So it's okay. I have a commentary. It'll probably be released some point on Rumble because Rumble is not like YouTube.
It's not full of faggots, so that's great.
Yeah.
No comment.
Well, I will end it with this.
Fuck you, 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 fuck you!